Hey guys, how's it going? So, if you guys don't know who Andy Worski is, he's a Canadian YouTuber, and I was a fan of his for quite a while, a little while ago, but recently he's just been getting like out of hand, and now he's making these videos about JF, and whatever you can think whatever you want of JF and what he's done, but the reaction that he's having for what he did, like he just commented on the whole Jared Holt thing that's going on because JF is trying to, Andy Worski is trying to sue Jared Holt for defamation or slander or some bullshit. But all JF did on his stream was kind of go through the allegations and be like, man, you don't have a case against Jared Holt. And then he's making these videos about JF now, the twisted mind of JF. And I guess he thinks he's like, justified in doing that. But in the videos, he's essentially making the accusations that like JF is like a pedophile and has ties to Jeffrey Epstein and stuff. And I'm like the latest video he just made, the first 5-6 minutes is Jeffrey Epstein and the allegations. And then JF saying that he got a donation one time from the Epstein Foundation. And I'm like, oh my God, man, like what is this? What are you trying to make? Like, what kind of accusation are you making here? I'm like, seriously, Andy, for what? What did JF do exactly to you? He said, you don't have a case. He said he's done it before. He's tried the same thing that you have. You don't have the money for that. And I find it funny how he's begging for money a couple weeks ago or a month ago. Now all of a sudden he has the money to pay a lawyer and all this crap. And you're like, yeah, you got to be kidding me. Hey there, Linda. How's it going? Hey, MT Cup. Hey, Jesus. How are you guys doing? Always watching, but don't comment often. Hey, man. Yeah, no, I've seen you around for a long time, man. Thanks for watching and paying attention, man. I really appreciate that. But this whole thing with Andy Worski is just making me about to unsubscribe from the guy. The only reason I haven't so far is because he's such a lol cow, and I'm kind of like, I want to see him do more stupid shit in the future. But like, I'm sure a lot of people who are following me right now don't know who he is. Hey, Nolan, what's up? The JF stuff is old news. Andy just wants new attention. Yeah, it's funny how all the stuff in his recent videos is like so old news. And you're like, man, like you're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. He's just recycling other people's content. And I'm like, JF's criticism of you being lazy is completely true because you're just recycling all these other people's content. And then he's like starting beef with like Styx Hexenhammer because on one of his latest videos, the twisted something, the twisted mind of JF, he put these guys in. I'm not even going to mention their names, but these two fat guys who were commenting on JF's girlfriend. Now they're trying to insinuate that JF's recent girlfriend is like a retard as well, by the way that she speaks and whatnot. And these two guys called Styx Hexenhammer a pedophile and was making these accusations of him being a pedophile. And then Styx said that he's going to sue them like hardcore. I remember he did a video about this months ago, and he's like, do you know how much fucking money I make? It's like, do you know how much money I make? And then he made them sing him happy birthday on their stream as like an apology so that he wouldn't sue them. So they're like, oh, happy birthday, Styx, happy birthday. And then you see Andy promoting these guys on Twitter saying, everybody check out their content. And then Styx responds, no, thanks, dog, essentially. And then, all these people are commenting, and you see Andy Worski's like, oh, they apologized already. Like, geez. And it's like, man, if somebody accused you of being a pedophile, them apologizing wouldn't be good enough. Like, just like Tonka, didn't he accuse you of being a fucking pedophile? And what was him just saying, oh, I'm sorry. Is that good enough? It's like, no, these people are trying to like fucking ruin your life, ruin your reputation. And that's okay. And he's going around saying JF said that he's a rapist. He's like, no, what you did sounds like rape. even failure in the stream that you said what you did, where he took his condom off and came at a girl without telling her, right? And like later told her and all that stuff. And he's like, oh, we still slept together, all that crap. But he's like, even failure said, he's like, nowadays that would be considered a rape. And then JF just goes about, he's like, yeah, you doing that, I could say it sounds like rape. Jared Holt didn't defame you. You're so stupid. You walked into it yourself. You're so dumb. You made it so Jared Holt can write an article about you and not even have any journalistic malpractice or whatever, right? He didn't even do that. And he didn't do anything illegal, you know. He's just dumb. And it's funny because, you know, you look at all the relationships this guy is having and how they end up turning out. Like, look at Chris Worski. He accused him of stealing $5,000 from him. There's no evidence for that. We haven't seen any evidence for that whatsoever. And, you know, when he was at his highest, when it was him and JF, that is when they had that's when they were at the top of their game. And then a lot of people got into Andy's ear and started saying like, oh, JF is manipulating you and he's doing this and he's doing that. And then, you know, then he's like, oh, JF, I'm paying you and I'm paying your bills and it's all me. This is the reason we have this show, blah, blah, blah. And I was trying to throw his dick around. And then, yeah, they left. And then he started going on a decline from there. Then he got Jay Dyer. And then he still started going on the decline. So he got rid of Jay Dyer. Then he was with, I don't know, Geek Thulu recently too. And where's Geek Thulu now, right? And now Geek Thulu and him hate each other because, you know, he's saying like, oh, he leaked this thing. He leaked the discussion between him and Andy Worski where Andy Worski is acting like a fucking bitch. And he's like, you're not supporting me. Why aren't you supporting me? Because what's his name? Geek Thulu was just saying like, hey man, you don't really have a case. This is a really difficult case. Maybe you should relax. And he's like, fuck you, essentially. And he eventually blocks him from Discord. And it's like, and then later on, some people are asking Geek Thulu, so he gives them the discussion, and then they, you know, put it on lol cow to show and make fun of Andy. But it's like, man, you deserve it. If you're acting like a woman, if you're acting like a bitch, then you should be called out for that. Who cares if somebody fucking released it? Like, you shouldn't be acting like that from the very beginning. Like, oh, you know, I have some of the discussion here. It's kind of a little bit hard to read, but I'll try to. It's kind of you know, small, but he's like, let's see, where's it begin? Because he's like, he starts off with, what is it? Where am I here? So slander. I don't know. It's too small to fucking read right now, but I didn't actually prepare it beforehand. But nonetheless, he just looks extremely bad in that conversation with Geek. He looks like a whiny little baby, and now they're all getting mad at him, and now they're like, oh, Geek, he released a video and be like, Geek's not a good friend to me, blah blah blah. But you know what, you're the one that got rid of him, you know, because they were having streams together and it was like 400-500 people at one point, where before he was having like at least a couple thousand. So obviously he's going to blame it on him. Whereas the shows, yeah, were pretty fucking boring. I didn't watch them either. But now he's treating that guy like shit. And now all these other people are being like, oh, Andy, you're so nice. And you're so kind. And this is why people are taking advantage of you. And I'm like, no, this guy just uses and abuses people, essentially. And you know, he kind of deserves what he's getting, and that whole lawsuit with Jared Holt is not going to go through whatsoever. And Andy is just going to keep going on the decline because all of his content so far is drama. It's just like one thing after the next. You know, it was Ian Miles Chong, whereas that was kind of understandable. But then he's like, okay, now I'll move over to the JF because he said this thing about me. Oh, I'm going to freak out about him. Now I'm going to go after these other people. I'm going to sue Jared Holt. It's like, what's fucking next with this guy? That last bone he has, he can't chew on that yet. Let's see the chat here. Beauty and Beta. Oh, I don't know who's Beauty and Beta. I think is that blonde chick? The JF stuff is old, but yeah, like also Andy's videos. It's annoying because it's all recycled content, all old recycled content. It's so lazily done, and he's trying to tie him up to Jeffrey Epstein, the fucking pedophile, in his videos, and I'm like, okay, man, like, you know, think what you want of JF, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, like, well, what kind of what kind of things are you doing? And then he's showing Destiny of all people. He's like that. That's the thing with Andy too. It's anybody who says some nice things about him or whatever in the meantime can get on his good side. And now he's using like that guy's Zoom to like dig up dirt on people and to try to destroy people. And he's like, oh, I just don't care anymore. It's like eventually that guy is going to turn on you. And once he turns on you, it's going to be really, really funny because you're at this point, you deserve what you're going to get. And I even seen like, you know, like Booberly and stuff go back to him and be like, oh, you know, like you do know they were calling you a stalker before, like when all this shit came out about him and his girlfriend and you and that, and you were being called a stalker and all that. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, how do people go back to that? It makes me laugh. He makes 50,000-70,000 K only. Yeah, I know he doesn't make that much money, but like, I don't know. I guess maybe he has like money saved or something, but it was a good threat. It scared them and it made them like sing a song. Jesus, is that LGBT symbol? I see it on my Bill sends messages. Stays up, team worship. No, is that? Yeah. I hate Jared Holt, but Andy has no case. Yeah, exactly. You know, nobody likes Jared Holt, but Andy walked into it himself and made it easy for Jared Holt to write an article about him. And there you go. Did I get downvotes? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I already have downvotes always because I got a couple haters. It's probably because of some of the people I banned from my channel. I bet you BM watches this. If you're watching right now, fuck you. That's what you get for downvoting my channel, you piece of shit. Yeah, man. I don't know, T-Clips. I don't know why did you go back, man? Like people are calling you a stalker. I don't know why you would, but honestly, like that's okay, I guess, if you guys moved on. But to me, I saw them saying some pretty fucked up shit. And I was like, wow, Booberly was only nice to you guys. And now all these people are in chat and they're like, oh, she's stalking, and oh, and Andy's like, I'm like, okay, and this is what he seems to be doing to people. And you know, he if you look at his social blade, his channel is going down more and more and more, and JF's channel is at least consistent. I don't know, maybe he's jealous or something. And because there's literally no direction to Andy's channel a lot of the times. It's really boring now. And at least JF has like a bunch of different people on his show. Like consistently, he does a show like every day, and he's not lazy. He doesn't have a shitty work ethic. And Andy's just stirring up drama with people. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, this is such a hugely disproportionate reaction to accuse him of being a pedophile. It's like, oh, he called me a rapist. He's saying I'm a rapist. Like, no, he said it sounds like rape. But Andy has a really hard time comprehending fucking words, and he either is a liar or he deliberately misrepresents people to make them look bad. One or the other. But I think I'm leaning more towards the stupid part, because honestly, it's like, man, it's like you're like misremembering what people say, and then you repeat like, he said I was a fucking rapist. I'm like, no, he didn't. He didn't say that. Happens groupies. Brian, not a groupie. Yeah, you know, I understand if you're uploading content about him, but I was just kind of like, that's one of the reasons why I thought Andy was a piece of shit. And it was because of the way he treated you. And I saw that and I was like, I'm like, that speaks volumes about his character, to me at least. And I wouldn't fucking, I don't trust that guy as far as I could throw him. I would never get involved with Andy or anything like that if I ever had the opportunity to, because as soon as anything goes wrong, he's gonna, like, I don't know, blame you or start shit with you. And it's not all the stuff that was started was wrong. Yeah, Tonka's a fucking retard and did a bunch of shit, made accusations about Andy too, and Kraut and T or whatever. But it's like he's a perpetual victim all the time, and then he's like complaining on Twitter, "Oh, I was having a panic attack," and it's like, grow some fucking balls, man. Jesus Christ, it's pathetic to watch that. And it's like you're representing Canadians in Canada, and they think we're all fucking spurgy retards when you present yourselves like that. And at least half of the people watching you are probably doing it for laughs, to see the next crazy stupid thing you do next. It's like, man, like I guess doing some drama is okay, but you don't need to like completely fabricate shit about people. That's all I have to say about that motherfucker. But I don't know. I was right about to unsub, because I'm like, these two videos, it was a very disproportionate reaction, in my opinion, for what JF even said. And I'm like, and then he's like, you know, he keeps like going, JF's ignoring him too. That's what I love about it. He's completely ignoring him, not paying attention whatsoever. And that's probably just making him so angry, because he's like, oh, I'm trying to stir some drama so people watch this drama going back and forth. But JF is just doing his content every single day, making his own videos and not paying attention. That's what you have to do with somebody like Andy, because he has no ideas. He has no original content. He has no direction of his channel. You know, he lost Chris, who, and you look at the quality, you know, of his videos. I'm not saying speaking mine are way better, obviously not. But, you know, the videos where he talks over shit, he should stop that right now, where he talks, it's like, oh, you know, and then the psych evaluation says, yeah, and then he does it with that voice, and you're like, man, just, this is so fucking cringy, man. like I don't know what you're doing, but like it's just bad. And maybe he needs a fucking handler. He needs somebody on his side to direct him and to be like, no, Andy, Andy, bad. But as we see with the leak with Geek Thulu, if you tell him the truth, he fucking blocks you and he deletes you. He's like, oh, fuck you then. Oh, if you don't suck my dick immediately, then you can go fuck yourself. And you're like, oh man, like this is the type of person Andy is at the end of the day. So maybe, you know, it's probably an okay guy and stuff, but he's way too emotional to be a fucking business partner with. He's way too easy to manipulate. All you got to do is be like, oh, poor Andy, they treat you so bad. You're just so nice, Andy. They just take advantage of your kindness. And I'm like, oh my God. And like a lot of people watching this, like I said, probably don't know who the fuck Andy Worski is, but you know, I've been watching him for a little while. I do some videos on him, and you know, I initially supported him and usually defended him against a lot of the bullshit, but you know, progressively more and more he just looks like a retard. Let's check out the chat here. But you know, I understand, you know, why T-Clips, you know, you would kind of go back, but I just thought that, you know, somebody called me a stalker and shit, I'd be like, fuck you, man, like go to hell. Hey, Kelly Day, how's it going? Yeah, I haven't made any content in a few days because I've just been really fucking tired after work. You know, I've been working production at work, and it's just long hours, and it's just crazy, you know. So I was like, yeah, when I got home, it was just late, and I just felt like sleeping. Yeah, the next person. Who is going to be Andy Worski's next enemy? That's what I'm asking. Who's going to cross him next? Is it going to be the Ralph Retort that's going to get on his bad side? Is it going to be Jim? And he's just going to be like, oh, I don't give a fuck. Kelly smooches. Fox, anyone else I know haven't noticed yet? AJ, I'm sorry. You had a terrible train derailment at your hometown. Sorry, you had it. Well, I didn't even hear the train derailment in my hometown. Oh, now I have to look that up. What the fuck? Cleanup is underway. 40 some cars went tracks. 30 SARS. Some of those cars carrying crude oil seen and damaged. Team responding cleanup. CN crews will be conducting a full-site assessment. Immediate reports of fires. Okay, so no injuries, at least, or fires so far, at the very least. So that's good. Oh fuck. Well, that's fucking yeah. There's a train track that runs right through my fucking town, and I think I know where this is. This is like near my dad's house. I like Skidoo here, right? I'm pretty sure I know where this is. This is like in the valley. Oh, well, that's fucked up. Oh my god. Well, thanks for letting me know that, Kelly. I'm sure my dad would have told me when I called him, but Godzilla recently subbed you. Oh yeah. Hey Fredrick, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, I didn't even fucking see that. Thanks for letting me know, Kelly. Stay focused, kids. The ore is the slave ship. Yeah, JF is weird, but I think that Andy's reaction is completely over the top, and his content is also shit, and he's also making a bunch of like false accusations. Like his first video was it said sociopath that went and crossed the stream, and then it had JF talking about an evolutionary explanation for like pedophilia, trying to like, lead us into thinking that JF is a pedophile, right? And that's a hefty accusation, right? And then the whole thing with Jeffrey Epstein and the latest video he just made, and it's ridiculous. It's like, man, what are you doing? Oh, it's like Andy Worski. It's oh, it was gross. I just like grabbed this coffee thing that I had there, and it's like it was like not warm at all. I meant to drink this. I was not warm at all. It was disgusting, actually. Yeah, I know. He did say he funded him. That means absolutely nothing. Jeffrey Epstein is the largest funder of science, like, in the world. He funds tons of scientists. And what did he fund? Like, what was JF studying? Like a study on how to attract children to pedophiles or something? Like, no, I highly doubt it. So him getting funding from Jeffrey Epstein means absolutely nothing. And bringing it up means you're trying to make JF seem like he's doing something with pedophiles. It's like, what the fuck are you trying to do, man? What did JF say in his fucking 20-minute clip that got Andy so pissed off, right? And the whole low IQ thing really gets to Andy. Like, in his videos, he mentioned it so many times. Like, oh, I'm so low IQ. Hey, oh, high IQ, low IQ. And you're like, man, just relax. It's fucking, he's like, don't worry about it. Like, you're letting that fucking get to you, man. Way too much. But what did JF really say in his content? In his video, he said, you don't have a case. You're going to you're going to call the lady and all this crap, and she's going to say, sorry, you need to come down here yourself. We don't accept facts. You're going to have to call. You're either going to have to fly down there to DC, to meet a fucking lawyer, or you're gonna have to pay a lawyer. And where's Andy gonna get all this fucking money from? He's gonna get Sticks, Hex, and a Hammer and stuff to help him get money for this thing? Well, he just kind of alienated Sticks, Hex, and Hammer on Twitter by promoting the two people that accused Sticks, Hex, and Hammer of being a pedophile. So then he essentially defends those two guys by saying, oh, they've apologized a bunch. It's like, fuck you. And then he attacks Andy, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer again. Not attacks him, but he purposely is what are you calling it? Disagreed with him like 6 hours later on Twitter. He quote retweeted something about Jussie Smollett, where Jussie Smollett, it came out that it's a hoax. Obviously, I called it. I told everybody it was a hoax. Everybody knew it was a hoax. Doesn't matter if you were black or white or whatever. You knew Jussie Smollett was lying. But where the fuck was I going with this? I lost my train of thought, mainly because of the whole fucking Jussie Smollett thing. But yeah. Sticks, Hex, and Hammer said that on Twitter he doesn't blame Jussie, he blames the media like CNN, MSNBC, HuffPost for promoting this. And then Andy quote retweets Sticks, and he's like, no, you're wrong. Like, you blame both of them. He's just as wrong. It's like, yeah, you know what Sticks was trying to say, man. And it's like, now you're trying to throw shit at him. And you're like, anybody who doesn't immediately get behind Andy at this point, he's like, you're not supporting me enough. You're not behind me. Why aren't you behind me 100%? Oh my God. I'm just defending myself against JF. I'm just defending myself. I'm going to make 2 full-length videos about JF when he commented at the end of a 3-hour-and-a-half stream at 20 fucking minutes. What, like, the only reason that clip got promoted more is because you got angry about it and got mad, and other people clipped it and promoted it or whatever. But like that, who cares, man? It's like he was telling you the truth. He didn't say anything defamatory. He didn't call you a rapist. He says it sounds like rape, and it does sound like rape. It really does. I'll say it too. It sounds like rape to me, right? It sounds like rape to me, especially with the broadened definition of rape these days. Even Failure said it in the fucking stream. It sounds like rape to me. But he's gonna have this fucking reaction. Everybody's gonna be like, "Wow, JF is a pedo fucker." Anyway, or I mean, he's a retard fucker and a potato masher or whatever, right? So who cares? But it's like, okay, fine. But it just kind of shows you Andy's like mentality right now. It's like, wow, man, what is wrong with you? But he's gonna have another crash, right? Like, this isn't gonna last. Like, what is he gonna do? He's gonna just continue starting fights with people and drama. But see, JF is reacting perfectly. He's not reacting to what Andy is saying, essentially. So then he's just gonna putter out with steam. And then he's gonna have nothing else to talk about, because what is next? He was making videos on E. Miles Chong, made 2 videos, stopped immediately, and everybody's like, what about the E. Miles Chong thing? He just stopped and started making stuff about Andy instead. I mean, JF, and now I guess he's gonna go back to the Ian Miles Chong now that nobody even cares about it anymore. So what's next for Andy Worski? What is next for him? Who is it going to go for next? What is his new original content going to be? He alienated all the people that were helping him make content, like Chris Worski and stuff. Where's he now? He's nowhere to be seen. He's gone, because he accused him of stealing $5,000 from him. Now, we don't know if that is fucking true or not, but I have a feeling it's not true. I have a real good feeling that it's not true. But let me check out the chat here. I'm going to move up a little bit. Happy White JF is a Quebec YouTuber, and that. And also, yeah, like there was also the spray painting they were showing, JF's girlfriend spray painting. Like, this is a big, huge thing where I'm like, no, this is all old news. We all knew about this months ago. And it's not like he was trying to make it seem like JF was sending his girlfriend out to spray paint around Montreal with Andy's name to make him look bad. But if you look, JF's name was also spray painted, and Richard Spencer. So she was just doing that on her own accord because she's like, yeah, fucking nuts or something, a little cuckoo. So she's like, you know, spray painting everybody's name. It wasn't like to smear, but that's the insinuation. He's trying to make you believe that. Same with a pedophile accusation. That's the thing I had the biggest problem with. Is like, you know, yeah, be mad. You can criticize people and call them out for their dumb shit, but now you're making up accusations of pedophilia or him, like, you know, or like what, like, and he made it in video form too, precisely so it would get more views, because streams like this don't get as much views as regular videos do. So a regular video is going to get seen by a lot more people. So he's just trying to have that up. So whenever you search up JF, you find the twisted mind of JF. So then people see, but it's like people have already done these whole analyses of the transcripts and the court documents a ton already. So it's like, what are you doing, man? You're just regurgitating old content, and it's boring as fuck. And it's so spurgy, and it's lazy. Like JF perfectly labeled Andy Worski. You know, he did it so well. He did it like Trump labels his opponents. The whole low IQ Andy thing, label him for the rest of his fucking life as low IQ. And maybe he's still fucking mad about that, because you could see him bringing up old shit when he's just talking about JF. He always bringing up old stuff. And you can tell he's holding on to like these old resentments and angers and stuff. But the low IQ thing sticks, and because it's true. And I've known people like that they get really mad when you call them stupid. Like, you know, I knew this guy Serge, and you call him stupid and be like, don't call me stupid. You know, I called him stupid once, like as a joke. We were doing this roofing test, right? We're all roofers in a class. And then, you know, I finished pretty quickly. And then he was still like one of the last ones done. And he's like, oh, you know, I was having trouble with this question. And I'm like, oh, it's because you're stupid, right? I'm like, that's why you're having a problem with that question. It's because you're stupid. And then I said, I'm joking right afterwards. Like, oh, I'm joking. But, you know, if you work with roofers, you have no idea the way that fucking we talk to each other and the fucking things that are said on a goddamn roof, you know, like it's pretty ridiculous. But this guy said like, oh, it's because you're stupid. And that's his trigger word. Apparently, if you say he's stupid, he loses his mind. And he like attacked me pretty much, or he tried pushing me. And like, I was like, man, you're lucky we're in a training class and at work, and I'm not going to punch you out, because, you know, other than that, you know, like I would be like feeding you with shots in the face right now. But 8JF tends to ban people like Owen Benjamin. Yeah, I don't even care. I don't care. JF bans people all the time. I don't give a shit. That's JF is autistic, all that stuff, but he's not. Is he making accusations that Andy is a pedophile? Is he? No, nobody. Who said JF is nice? Who said JF is nice? JF is not nice. Not nice at all. But like, that's not the issue. That's not at all the issue. It's Andy Worski that's the issue. Everybody knows JF is autistic, and yeah, kind of a dick, and says mean things and whatnot, and all that crap. But that's funny. Honestly, that's hilarious. He's funny as shit. Like, JF is funny to watch. He's actually entertaining. He's smart. He knows more what he's talking about. He has more of a purpose and direction for his channel. And then Andy is just a spurging retard that says the stupid shit. Doesn't know what he's talking about. He can't make a fucking coherent point ever in his fucking life. And it's like, that's why the whole duo with those two was so good, because, you know, Andy was like a kind of a lovable idiot. And then JF was like a autistic smart guy. It was kind of like a dick. And it was a good combination, right? But, you know, now it's Chupa's sleeping. He's sleeping right now. But yeah, you know, I don't know. So I did. Let's fight. Did you call me chicken? But no, I don't think JF is nice. I don't think he's nice. But he didn't say anything that bad about. If you go watch the clip about him talking about Andy Worski and the whole thing, and he started it first. Anyways, there's a previous clip a couple days before that he didn't even respond to. But I'm just saying, you can't feed Andy, because at this point he is a troll. And you can't feed the trolls, because if you feed the trolls, then they just keep coming back. And he wants a lot of people and his fans to be like, oh, Andy, you're just so nice. You're too trusting to people. You're too trusting. No. Don't trust Andy. Look at everybody who gets involved with Andy. Like, they lose. They get kicked off. Like, where's Geek Thulu? And he was making, he's playing video games because I bought him a PS4, he said on his Twitter. It's like, wait, this is the same thing he did with JF. He's like, I pay you money. I pay the bills. It's like, do you know how your fucking show works, you idiot? You both make fucking money for the show. And then he left and you started making way less money, like a lot less money. So we're like, oh, wait. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have swung my dick around like that, like other people are trying to tell me. And I saw it all happening. And I was telling people, like, hey, you know, they're manipulating you. And it's like, yeah, JF has got a pass and all that stuff. But, dude, you're stupid as fucking shit. You can't make your own content coherently unless it's drama. You need a fucking handler. That's it. Like, you know, so it doesn't matter how bad he is. Like, Jesus Christ, man. And I don't even care if Andy, and fuck Andy. He's a piece of shit. Honestly, he's a piece of shit at this point. And he's not really redeemable. Honestly, he's not really redeemable. What does he do? Like, what is the point of your channel at all? Like, what is the point of it? And, you know, it's just, and then how is he getting this money to sue people as well? Where is he getting this money from? It costs a lot to hire a fucking DC lawyer. So I don't know why he's e-begging on his site and online, being like, give me money. And then all of a sudden, you know, now he has all this money to fucking pay a lawyer. But here, let me throw if anybody wants to jump on, let me throw that in there. Talk about Andy Worski there. But that's it, though. Let me see here. Jesus. Hey, Zeus, where are you leaving? Let's see. The point of my channel is AJ is on a warpath. Doesn't Andy have managers? Yeah, he apparently does have a manager. He should fire him. I don't know why he has a fucking manager. He does absolutely nothing for him. It's trolling. That's why I started it. Right. Yeah, Andy does have a manager. Kick fund me for sure. But yeah, you know, I haven't really made too much content recently. I've just been really tired after work and stuff. And, you know, I was like, I'm going to do a stream. I was going to do a video about Andy. And I was like, maybe I'll just do a stream. A little bit easier. And I don't have to, like, make a bunch of shit. But then again, I might still do a video because that will get more views and more traction. And then maybe he'll see it. Because if somebody sees people, they'll see like a 2-hour stream, right? And they don't necessarily want to watch the whole thing or whatever, but I can kind of condense it down because, yeah, it's bullshit, and kind of go through more in detail some of the shit he said and whatnot, because it's pretty You get to see the real Andy, honestly, especially with those leaks of Geek Thulu. He'll start a fight with AJ Illicits. Yeah, he probably will. Who cares though? Fat chance. There's going to be a kick fund me for sure. Yeah, I don't know. He's a joke. Phaenox banged herself up bad, broke her arm and collarbone yesterday. Stupid pothole beneath. Oh my god. Hopefully she's okay. Jesus. Oh my god. Her arm and collarbone. That's terrible. Hopefully she's okay. Fuck. Is she still in the hospital? I guess. Well, hopefully she can still type with one hand, maybe. I don't know. With her collarbone, I guess. Maybe you can go with one arm. Fuck, that's terrible. Hopefully she's okay. Jesus. Well, that's Canadian roads. Hey, you know what? That's the government for you. But who's going to build the roads, right? Who's going to build our roads if it's not for the government? Oh, the ones where they have huge potholes that people get injured and they break their arms and collarbones in. Yeah, I'm sure Faye isn't too happy about the government taking care of the roads. Jesus. Yeah, that's terrible. Roads. Yeah, Slavey. You got that right, man. You got that right. Let me check Reddit. There were some stories, I think. I don't know. Is there anything new in Canadian news? I haven't even paid any attention whatsoever. Oh, did somebody just pop in here or something? Oh, okay. Oh, it's Fredrick. Oh, it's Fredrick, that piece of shit.
Let's fight, man. Let's go. I'll meet you.
Let's go. Let's go.
Going to Kentucky. Let's go.
Let's meet at the flagpole. I'll meet you at the flagpole at Chuck E. Cheese.
Denny's. Fuck Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah. Chuck E. Cheese. Okay, Denny's. Oh, I'm with Drink That. Not bad, man. How are you today?
I don't know. Just listening to your stream. It's kind of funny. Yeah, sometimes it's good to talk about other shit than just politics. It's just fucking depressing.
Yeah, and I was just paying attention to that and watching a whole Andy's streams past couple days and reading the Kiwi farms and all that crap.
Oh yeah, something new. I just lost. The last one was the JF Garippy part 2, which wasn't too bad. That series wasn't. He put that together pretty well.
Right.
But he had a lot of help from Zoom, right? You could tell that was Zoom in the background.
Honestly, I thought it was shit.
Why?
I thought it was shit because what was the majority of it was other people's content. The majority of it was the second part was 3/4 other people's content. There was a part where I don't know who was talking, but it was 5-minute clip of somebody and then he said this, and then JF said this, and then it's why are you just recounting everything I've already heard a million times?
Yeah, but there were those. So let's break it down, right? First of all, the production sense and the editing, I think it was top notch. The other thing was, we all know Zoom. Some people in the chat may not Zoom that he's on the kill stream. The guy is methodical. When he goes after someone, he'll try to get the court documents. He'll make phone calls. He's like SPCC when he'll make phone calls to certain organizations to get all this information. So I think it was pretty well put together. And the fact is, yeah, Andy, we all know Andy. That's why I did a video on him, calling him the internet drama king or the YouTube drama king, because he's always something. I don't know what happened with Chris. He just disappeared off the show, and he made a claim that he stole money, but Chris never came back with a response to that. So I'm not going to make any assumptions. I'm just going to say, okay, well, that's what was said. And I don't know what happened to Geek Thulu. Apparently he hasn't been appearing. Like you said, he was gone. I'm trying to find out what happened with Geek Thulu. But yeah, he does have tendencies to spurg out. He was his best when he was going after the SJWs with Chris, with the MTV videos. That was the funniest shit at that part of his career. And then I don't know, he just kind of went off started doing cocaine and trying to burn his nipples off on YouTube on a stream. That was hilarious.
Yeah, he's having it seems to me like he's having a mental fucking breakdown or something.
For sure. Yeah.
And he's just going to keep going on a decline continuously because like what is he doing? Like all of his content for the past while, and when he did the whole thing with Geek, it was like the warpath where the whole premise of the show was just destroying people or something like that.
No. So the Geek Thulu, so he goes through these eras, right? With Chris, it was the era versus MTV, and then with Geek Thulu, it was the era versus Donkasa, right? So if you know, with JF, it was the era versus Richard Spencer and Sargon. So every time he gets the new host, it'll be someone he's going to spurg out against. But I mean, sometimes that kind of shit's entertaining. If you watched the kill stream last night, it was for about 40 minutes of Ralph spurting out on some other thing called Dispatch, which they were stream sniping him, and they were actually trying to get all kinds of people's information from Discord. So I think we all go through it. I'm sure one of these days I'll probably go through it on my own videos.
Yeah, I guess, you know, I don't know. I just think accusing people or trying to insinuate they're pedophiles is kind of like a little bit.
Well, yeah, but let's be fair, right? So he apparently, let's just take it for word value. He said he was depressed. He had to probably deal with family that was saying, you know, I heard that you're a pedophile and stuff, and you know, we all know Right Wing Watch, right? It's a shit organization. And Gerald Holt is a real piece of shit, right? Yeah. And so I can understand him wanting to kind of set the record straight. And that's fine. That's up to Gerald Holt and Right Wing Watch. If they want to retract or make any edits, it would be a good thing to do so. But then JF, you know, what started off JF was someone in the comments section saying, "Hey, Andy, your Spurgy buddy,
hard wrangler."
Yeah, he needs some help here. And then JF starts to go, yeah, but he doesn't have a foothold. Hey, and then I think what set Andy off was him saying, you know what? You are a rapist and you come after me now. And actually that wasn't quite nice to do. So I think that's what really lit the flame under Andy's ass.
You are a rapist. He said, it sounds like rape to me. Two different things, right?
No,
they are.
To me, it's the same thing. Okay, so watch. You're at work, and someone says, you know what? It sounds like rape to me. Everyone's going to assume that you're a rapist. They're not going to take the low road. They're going to take the high road and say, yeah, you're a rapist, because it does sound rape to me.
Who watches JF? His fans? People that already think Andy is an idiot. Like, but even so. He didn't say
vice versa, same thing.
He didn't say you are a rapist, but technically, if it's by today's standards, he is a rapist. There you go, right? By today's standards,
you can take. He took the legal route, but he didn't take the moral route. So if you want to talk about that kind of bullshit about rape, no,
he never said he's like I'm not going to moral fag him about this and all this crap. But he's like. You know, doing that, especially in today's context, it sounds like rape, you know, and you know, good luck trying to sue JF for saying that, who's in his own country now trying to sue Jared Holt. Good luck, you know, like good luck doing that. You have no case. You have no chance whatsoever. He waited a whole fucking year to make this. like oh my god, it's laughable. He has absolutely no shot to make a case. He's not going to make
against Jared Holt or
against Jared Holt, because he's not going to say how is he going to say he lost any profits. He can't, because there's tons of evidence of him online throughout this past year being like, I'm making tons of money on streams or whatever, and then it going down and up and down.
Yeah, I know, and then admitting he was addicted to porn while on VR or something like that.
Yeah,
yeah, we all agree that he's a spurg, but I think JF took the wrong road. And to me, saying, "Hey, Andy, you know, I believe you're." No, I don't think so. I think it was JF. I think in that case, it was JF. Considering, no, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Yes,
he did. You think those two videos he made accusing JF of being a fucking pedophile is the right road to JF's critical analysis of complete
He's doing the same.
No, it's not the same.
But hold on, he didn't accuse JF of being a pedophile. He insinuated the same way Jeff insinuated that he's
He didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't.
No.
This is the thing. This is the thing. Andy Worski is so fucking stupid, right? He recounts a story about how a condom broke off and he came in a fucking girl anyways, right? He's so fucking stupid. He recounts this story live on air that even Failure says, you know what? That's considered rape today, right? Even Failure said that on his stream. So why isn't he going after Failure? Failure.
I don't know. I never. When did Failure? I didn't hear that. Right.
There's a stream of it. I can get the link. I don't have it right, but I know I have. Actually, I do have the link. I gotta open up the WhatsApp or whatever.
On Takasaw's channel.
It was months ago, but there's a link of Andy talking about it, and then Failure says, I listened to it just yesterday, and he says that's rape. That's considered rape today. And Andy's like, oh shit. And now he's like, and then he leaked the conversation with Jared Holt saying like, look, I have the evidence. Jared Holt never once said I was wrong in the way he wrote his thing. The whole conversation, which I just listened to like an hour ago or whatever, is nothing. It's not going to be used in court whatsoever. It's just him saying, hey man, I don't like what you did. And I don't like the way, and I just meant it as a joke. And then he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll remember that for the future. But, you know, I think we'll just leave it as it is. And, you know, I have your number now, and you can call me. And if anything bothers you and blah, blah. And he's like, okay, thanks, man. You know, it was just a joke. You know, you get it, you know.
Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna, because everybody's like, who the hell is Andy Worski? What the fuck is this argument about? Okay, Andy Worski, guys, is a YouTube Canadian from like GTA area in Toronto. He started off with this guy, Chris Worski, a Chinese guy, but they're not related. And they had this go at MTV and all of the SJW stuff. And he actually made some rap videos, which was kind of funny. And then, I don't know, he lost Chris Worski, and then he went on a bender, cocaine trips, and then he got a new show with JF Garapi, who was his host, and something happened on that show, which, fuck, the guy's got so much drama behind him. So there was another guy, Tonkasa, because they had went to a place called, what's that YouTube get-together, VidCon, right? And
yeah.
And Andy had come up with the idea of something like internet blood sports. And then there was this other guy, Tonkasa, who was kind of doing the same thing. They used to talk a bit. And then he had something called the Kumite. So they were like, okay, so we'll do it together. So Andy would sometimes go on the Kumite and then do his own show, ISB, or Internet Blood Sports. And then he had Jeff Garapi on it, and then he had like important people. There was a really big debate that kind of launched the JF and Andy, because Richard Spencer had a debate with Sargoy, right? And you know, that outcome just threw the numbers just wild. Everybody was subscribing. And then, you know, JF obviously is an intellectual, right? He wants to have, you know, more intellectual discussions, and Andy wants to have fun and shoot the shit and cause drama. So there was an episode where JF just told Andy to shut the fuck up, you know, because you're too stupid to talk. And then I think he started listening to
your low IQ interruptions.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. So basically,
but that didn't initially bother him that much.
No, I think it did, because that was the key where Donkasa started trying to, like, if there was no Donkasa in the picture, I think JF and Andy would have gone through a longer phase.
It wasn't just Donkasa. Like, the thing is, I was watching pretty closely when all that was going down too, and like there was lots of people always in his ear constantly. There was like that short fat otaku. There was all of these skeptics. There was one of the things I think that triggered him the most was there was an argument that he had on the Kumite with Paul's Ego from the, you know, Paul's Ego from the Drunken Peasants. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Paul's ego was like, man, you're a bitch, and you're letting JF walk over you and run your show and blah blah. And then Andy's like, you're right, man. You're right. You're right, dude. And then he's like, and then the next day, that's when it happened, right? And it was Tonka too, as well. Him lying and saying,
yeah, him playing. He's playing both sides, right? Because he had
the failure too was always like, I don't like JF.
I think see, that's the thing, right? All these little alliances. I think failure was just going along with Donkasa, but I'm not sure. You know, really, with failure, it's really tricky, right? Because I think he's low IQ too. But that that whole moment with Donkasa playing Andy was hilarious because he couldn't see it. Because I saw it instantly when he started. Well, you know, JF came. You can't let a guy talk to you like that. JF comes on his stream. He says, you know, it's maybe not working out for you well, you know, but maybe you guys should stick together. And he keeps going back and forth. Stay together, leave. Stay together, leave. And Andy fell for it, right? And well, anyway, it made it entertaining because at the end, we saw an idiot like Donkasa basically get kicked off the internet because I wanted to see that fight. But it didn't happen. So people that don't know, this guy, this big internet tough guy, was, you know, every time he had a guest on, I'll kick the shit out of you. Kick the shit. I was in wrestling. I was MMA, and then Andy and them were going back at it. And there was somebody, Tara La Rosa, who's a MMA fighter, said, "I'll set this up. You know, I'll set it up in the U.S." Andy signs up. Starts training, starts going to MMA. It looks like he starts getting his life together, starts looking in shape, and then Tonkasa keeps
the guy training him though. Did you see the guy? I saw the guy training him.
You got vid? Just post it, man. I want to see that.
I don't remember where the video was, but the guy was like extremely obese.
Oh, was he?
I was like, who the fuck is this guy training you, man? I was like, that's
oh really?
Like Andy, the guy's like, this is my trainer, and the guy had like a thing around his head, like a bandana, and he just looked like a big slob. And I was just like, what? Like, doesn't mean he doesn't know anything about.
I didn't know that, man.
Fighting. Maybe he still knows basic stuff, right? I don't know, but I wouldn't be being. I don't know. It depends. If they're really old and they're overweight, then I'd be trained by them because then I'm like, oh, okay. You know, they're probably in their prime. They're old now. They slowed down. But if they're like young and fat, then I'm like, no, I'm not being trained by you. Because, you know.
No, my MMA guy, he actually, so I go train like once a week just to keep fit. And I don't know if the shit hits the fan here in Canada. You know, at least I'll be able to protect myself and my family. But my trainer, he actually, there's a program at the MMA club that I go to where you can sign up and you can actually be in the corner, in the coach's corner in the major fights. So he goes to a lot of those, and the guy is tough. I mean, every time I come out of there, I'm like almost half dead. And you know, the guy's fit. He's young. He's fought some amateur stuff, but no, there's no fat guys in my MMA. Actually, we teach kickboxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So, yeah, I didn't know that. Actually, it's kind of funny. Actually, now I would have liked to see Tonkasa show up, but
yeah,
obviously Tonkasa's another internet tough guy that didn't show up.
Yeah, he's funny. He's still trying to say something about that now, where he's like, "No, I was still gonna fight, but the name."
No, what are you talking about? He started a new channel called Wrestling Today.
Is it he has another new channel. It's called the Tonka Show. He rebranded it again. It's called the Tonka Hour or the Tonka Show. It's just boring as shit, and it's hard to watch. It's just like, oh, I love wrestling. Do you love wrestling? And it's really sad to see that his views are like my views now, like 50, like maybe he has 50 or something people watching, as compared to the 2,000 that were watching at one point. But you know, he did that to himself as essentially, right? You know.
Yeah,
and, you know, Takasa's an idiot too. You know,
there's one thing that people on YouTube should know. You don't make enemies out of guys like Middeker, who are just insane in terms of pulling out information and, you know, putting things together. I mean, Zoom is another one, right? You can see how Zoom got the court records for the psych assessments for JF. That was insane. I'm like, how the fuck did this guy get this? Like, and he's pulling, and he obviously did, you know, redact some stuff there because I guess, you know, he didn't want to get in trouble, but that was amazing. Like there, again, you see the history of some of these YouTubers. They're fucking fruity.
Well, Andy's got to watch out, man. He's teaming up with that guy, and one day he's gonna turn around, probably on him, and turn on him if he's, you know, maybe he won't.
Oh yeah, you got to be careful with Zoom. No, you gotta, like, when you're dealing with Zoom. and actually, if you remember, if you've watched, it sounds like you've watched a lot of Andy stuff. Midecker told Andy, because Andy was like, "Oh, you guys are my friends, and I would never, like, you know, do anything to harm you." And then Midecker says, like, "Dude, I'm not your friend. I'm just a guy on the internet having fun and talking about spurgs on the internet
He always says.
And Andy's like, oh yeah, right. I'm like, I definitely know that. And then he turns around and 2 minutes later it says, "Yeah, but you guys are still my friends." So
yeah, I know, right? He doesn't get that these people are not his friends, and you got to be careful of people on the internet, right? It's like, you know, like I like a lot of people here, but it's like, you know, you still got to be careful about who you let into your life and stuff, and you know, like Medicare is smart, by the way, like, you know, he does it right. It's like, you know, no, I'm not your friends. I'm not going to, like, take it easy on you when you go and do stupid shit, because yeah, when you are somebody's friend like that, you will kind of like ignore some shit that they do, right? That could be, you know, kind of funny to call them out on, I guess, in the way he likes to do it. He likes to call people out on shit, but he's already made about Andy, kind of. Or
well, I think Midecker is just waiting for an opportune time when Andy fucks up, right? And he'll do shit on Andy. Zoom, you know, is dangerous because, again, I don't think he's anyone's friend. He's just riding the wave. Like, he comes on the kill stream, and last night with dispatch and shit. But you got to be careful with Zoom. I've seen this guy. He's going in for the lulls, and he's going for the numbers, right? So you have to watch what's going on, especially like YouTube and the internet.
He's in on your laughs.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, let's change topics. What do you think about AOC and the ridiculous decision that she forced Amazon out of New York?
Oh, she did?
Well, basically, yeah. They were like, you know,
giving good.
Why?
Because do you know how much, you know, New York had to buy a helipad for Amazon, and the taxpayers had to subsidize that?
No. Okay, let's look at it from this perspective. I'm no lover of Baldy with the Sauron eye. You know, 100 billionth richest, or sorry, he has a net worth of $150 billion, and he's into tranny looking girls. But everybody keeps saying it's a mistake. Oh, you know, the taxpayers would have had to give him $3 million, but let's say it was $5 million that the revenues and tax dollars would have come in. They would have got $2 million in tax revenue. Now they're not giving the money away. It's nothing. It's just, we're going to give you a credit, but you're still going to generate us, the company itself, $2 million in tax dollars. So when they say, oh, we saved money, it's actually the wrong assessment, because you didn't save yourself money. You lost $2 million or more in tax revenue. And plus, they're developing an area of Long Island, which is being developed anyway. It's all corrupt. Yeah. People are building shit there, whatever they want. They're not following code. So, and then this was a head office. It wasn't like, you know, a pick, pack, and ship place where they pay their workers piddle cents, and they don't even get to take a break to shit and piss. This was a corporate hub where, you know, on average people would be making between 70 and 100, and he was, you know, that those people generate taxes. This was a dumb move. Like, well, I don't know what that fucking AOC is, a real brain dead idiot.
Who cares? Like, well, the thing is, New York, they have a lot of money. I don't know. It can go somewhere else, and then another state will subsidize them, and they'll just go there. I don't know, whatever. It's like, I don't know, New York loses some high-paying jobs. They got a lot of high-paying jobs.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so
I don't
you
know.
know,
They throw so much money at these people sometimes to come here. Like, you know how much subsidies like the NFL and stuff gets?
yes,
It's ridiculous.
absolutely. It's
And
really
then they
fucking
build all
ridiculous.
this shit that stays there, and it actually costs us more money because we have to maintain all that shit. But
Yeah. Like, for example, 2 years ago, or maybe five, you know, the commenters can correct me if I'm wrong. In Markham, the mayor wanted to bring a stadium for the Maple Leafs, for another hockey team to play. And luckily, all the Chinese, I don't know, they were in agreement. They didn't want the stadium. They didn't want to pay for the stadium because MLSE Sports could build this stadium and still make a killing. So it was kind of funny in that sense that people got woke and said, no, we don't need a stadium. We want to watch the Leafs play. We'll go into the city. And I agree.
maybe it is a subsidy if other people are not allowed to do it. You know what I mean? Sorry, I just had to address that in a comment. Like if one person is allowed to not pay property taxes and everybody else has to pay property taxes, then that's bullshit. You know what I mean? But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I think this was truly a bad move for the city of New York in terms of, like, she's not getting it. Like, and this is specifically her, right? She's a mental case. She's, you know, the words that she uses, the thing that she staged the other day in Congress, that little play, that little leisure domain that she was. Oh, hey guys, what if he was a really, really, really bad dude? Oh yeah, let's look at all the Democrats that have been on the take. Feinstein with her Chinese counterparts, you know, taking in money for her husband, doing business deals in China.
Oh yeah,
Hillary,
she had a Chinese spy working for her for 20
right?
years as her
And then,
driver.
and she was the head of the organization that's supposed to say, "Hey guys, you know, we have spies in our organization." She
I
played
know
dumb.
it's just
That's
hilarious.
one Democrat. Then there's another, and I did a video on this. So you know, there's a bunch of other Democrats, mostly coming from California. There was a Chinese senator who was actually going for pushing for gun laws. Meanwhile, at the back end, he's trying to get buy guns for the Chinese mafia. There was another guy laundering money, taking in $48,000 in bribes, and I mean, it's just insane. And this woman's trying to, like, put the finger on, you know, point the finger at Donald Trump with this little act, with these little yes and yes women. It was a fucking joke. Like, she really is. She is the worst thing that could come into the Democratic Party, because. But at the same time, people are believing this, so it just really highlights the Pareto principle that most of the people out there are retarded. So, yeah, and then she botched the whole Amazon deal. And that was, you know, trust me, I don't like Amazon. I don't like Jeff Bezos. I think, you know, he started from humble beginnings. And I don't know what the fuck happened. You know, now he wants to drink baby blood to live forever with him and Thiel. And yeah, I guess that's what happens when you have more money than God. But that was a good deal for the city. That was revenue generating. So she wants to have free education and speed rails everywhere, all over the country, and fake cow meat. Well, then there's your chance. You keep complaining that big companies not paying taxes. Well, there you go. You're giving them a credit. Just like if I go to a store and they put something on clearance, that technically is a credit because you're overpaying for the junk we buy in stores. You go and buy a T-shirt for $100, and you know it's made for $2 in China, or even now in India, or now in Cambodia or Vietnam.
I think the government shouldn't even have the ability to do that with taxpayer money, bribe companies to stay, because then it creates a bidding war with taxpayer money, and then they have like, oh, I can go here, 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 and here, whereas they're going to stay in America most likely anyways because it's a good business place to be because of the low tax rate. Whereas if they didn't have the ability to bribe people, they would just go to, you know, they would go to the place that has the best or the lowest taxes, right, for everybody. But what's happening is crony capitalism, right? You get the politicians bribing them, giving. Well, how come they get all this money and money to come, and not all these other companies? Like, I understand your point that it's a good investment because they're going to pay off the initial 2, 3, 4 million or whatever, right? Like, I get you, and they're going to be high paying jobs. And that's the same thing. They have another place in DC also opening up, and it's a high corporate place, right, where they're all 6-figure starting positions, 6-figure salary jobs, like good paying jobs. But I just have such a problem with crony capitalism in general, and the fact that the government can do that with taxpayer money. And it creates like a false sense of like competition and stuff, right? Whereas it's not actually, they're not going to the place that has the best incentives for business. They're going to the place that bribes them the most with taxpayer money, and that place could have a lot of restrictive policies on all these other businesses. But they're like, you're Amazon, we'll give you leeway and money and shit. And then we wonder where monopolies show up from and how they get so much power and all of this shit. And we're like, well, how did this happen? Where do these companies have so much power? Oh, we need more regulation now to tamp down with these all powerful companies that we created with, all of
that's
our
true. Look, that's all true. But he wasn't that 20 years ago. He was he's a very intelligent guy. He's he was 30 years old. He was a VP of a financing company. The guy starts out in his basement, starts packing shit. And the guy, he was driving around in a Honda when he's already worth 10 million or something like that. They did an interview with him a long time ago. So I think it was 60 Minutes. He's driving, why the Honda Accord? And he was like, it's a reliable car, right? So at that time, he wasn't getting incentives. Now he's huge. He has the ability to hire en masse. Now, I would support if Amazon headquarters came into Ontario, because what the fuck do we have? We have big banks to hire and telecom.
I'm fine with that. Like, I agree with you. I want more businesses, big businesses, whatever, to come and give jobs.
I'm sure Trudeau will botch that up. But anyway.
But it's just there's just the whole underlying thing of the using the taxpayer money to incentivize people. It's just like a poor incentive, in my opinion. It's not a good incentive. The incentive should be your tax rate. It should be how friendly your province, your state is to business and stuff like that. Whereas having the ability to just take some of your taxpayer money and offer it to like a specific company for them to come here and make jobs that maybe they'll leave in a year because they're like, well,
you mean like Foxconn?
Right. They'll be like, well, we don't really like this place anymore, and there's a new place opening up that's even better. We're gonna leave. Sorry. Thanks for the money. It was great. You didn't write into the contract. Like, look at Huawei right now. Apparently, we might, because of the way Harper signed the contract, I don't know if this was in CBC, maybe it's fake news, but he wrote it so if we pull out of the Huawei thing, we're gonna have to pay them like close to maybe like hundreds of millions or $1 billion to leave and to no longer, or to ban them from Canada. So however they wrote in that contract, we're fucked. So it really depends how they, write out the contract, how long we have to be, tied with these people. But go ahead.
Yeah, but fuck the Chinese.
Yeah, but I get you. Like, I know
what you're saying.
Not against big business, and I'm all for that. And the only problem I have with the whole crony capitalist system the way it is now is like, we get people like Jeff Bezos that are self-made people, right? And make a lot of money and work hard and do all that stuff. But once some people tend to get to a higher position, that's when they have the ability to now influence the government to be like, oh, well, create this regulation, do this, Look what like SNC Lavallee did to Trudeau, right? 2015, they're charged by the RCMP. 2015, they go to Trudeau with a bunch of lobbyists to get him to change a law so then they can get a settlement. 2017, Trudeau puts a thing in the law saying, or you know, tries to get the Senate or whatever to create a bill to add that in the law. 2018, they put that in the law, and then now they have the ability to pardon these people. Essentially, you know, it's like that.
Yeah,
That's
well, you know, you're talking about
happened.
Quebec.
But I'm saying that
Quebec,
like Jeff Bezos now has the ability to stop a lot of the up and coming competitors from coming in. This is the problem with crony capitalists: is they come in, they make a lot of money by themselves, and then they have the ability to influence the government to stop all of their friends or their competition from getting government contracts or all this other crap, and then they remain a monopoly, or they get more and more power. And you know that, but yeah. If Jeff Bezos was this way he is by himself without any government influence, that's great. That's a great thing. You know, I don't care, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's kind of stupid what she did, pushing him out. But whatever. I don't give a fuck about New York. Fuck New York City, man. They have lots of money. They can do without. Some other place can get it. You know, I don't really care about them, to be honest. Bunch of socialist idiots. You know, who do they fucking vote for? Who's their mayor right now? De Blasio or something, right?
Yeah. Fuck. I just wanted to bring up AOC because I think she's a real twat, and that little act that she had, where in Congress, where she's trying to play, it's a real act, and then she was trying to instigate that.
She said that Mexicans should have citizenship, automatic citizenship, because they're native.
Yeah, she's a real fucktard.
That's crazy.
And she's a graduate of a major college. This is what's even scarier. What the?
Yeah.
Like it used to mean something. I came up from MIT. I came, from Caltech, and all. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It's just cesspools of breeding little Marxists. But anyway, there's somebody wanted to switch the topic to Jussie Smollett.
Oh yeah. Well, that's come out. He's a hoaxer. But that was obvious. And he's gonna get charged, man. He's gonna get charged with something, because you can't.
I hope he does.
I really do. That'd be so great if he gets charged with something. And all the media promoting it was pretty funny too. Like, just, I saw, all those people on Twitter. Anna AOC also, she tweeted about it. It got 150,000 likes and retweets. And it's like, oh, this something about black and Jewish. I don't know, but he's black and he's Jewish.
Bets that those two guys were his boyfriends, were his little booty calls.
Yeah. Were they?
They had, I don't know, man. They had these videos they were sending him.
Right.
So I don't know if you're familiar with Tommy Sotomayor. He's this black YouTuber. He's just hilarious. He calls black women like Terminators. Anyways, he's funny as shit, right?
Yeah, I've seen
it. He did a stream where he had released these videos of these guys working out, and they're like sending it to him, and they're like dancing and shit, risque and I was like, okay, there's like boy toys for sure. These two Nigerians are his boy toys. So they probably set this up. And then Tommy said something which was really interesting. I didn't think of it, which was, if someone puts a noose around you and you're struggling like a rope, you're gonna have all these scratch marks around your neck.
Yeah.
I know sometimes like my zipper might get caught, and I'll just, oh shit, and it'll leave a small mark. But you put a rope around someone's neck and they're moving around, there's no marks. There was nothing there. So
yeah.
And then bleach. That was the funniest part.
All fake. Like I knew immediately. Like there was one thing of the story where it said that he still had the rope around his neck half an hour after he called the cops. Like when he answered the door, the rope was still around his neck, and you're like, man, you're just, who does that? Who would keep the rope around their neck? And yeah, there's no marks. he had a little scratch under his eye.
Yeah, just like a cat scratch.
Yeah, it's like if somebody he said he got like Superman punched or something. If somebody like Superman punched you, you'd have a big huge black Nigerian dude like just Superman.
Those guys were huge. They were huge.
That would have fucking left a huge fucking well on your fucking face.
Yeah, that's right. And they didn't take his sandwich.
Yeah, right. Oh well, you know, we're gonna kick his ass, but we're not gonna steal his food. You know, that's just a little bit too much. We gotta let him eat.
Sammy.
I don't know. It was, but that's just. I think this is a good thing, just to expose the media again for just how fake they are. Because,
yeah, but they never stopped. They never fucking stopped. Did they stop with the Covington kids?
No, they'll never. I don't think they'll stop. But I mean, for the normie people, like, man, like, just look at this. Look how gleeful they are, and like how like everybody. Who a lot of people probably looked at that story and were like, oh, it's obviously fake. And then they see everybody promoting it on the media and all that stuff. And, you know, that will maybe make some people a little bit more like less trusting of the media at some point. You know, I think they keep kind of doing these things over and over again. And every time they do, it wakes up maybe a few people at a time. Every time it wakes up a few people to be like, wow, like these people are fucking monsters. Or like, you know, they're obviously trying to push division on people if they're trying to promote these blatantly false stories, right?
Yeah, but it's, you know, but the thing is, it still gets traction in the media. He was on Good Morning America. I mean, yeah. You know, people are just right away jump. And I just don't get it. Like, I mean, obviously I understand there's the predominant majority of Americans are real, you know, clueless. They don't read a book. They don't really truly read between the lines. They don't read dailies from all different sources. So it's not surprising to me that, you know, they fall for this shit, but it's just sad that they do fall for this shit, because it obviously the whole story is questionable. They had a huge storm in Chicago that night. Apparently Chicago is covered in cameras. They didn't really get a good shot. He didn't, you know, his story changes. I hope they put charges on him. I don't think he's going to see jail time. Yeah. They probably will charge him. And, you know,
I'd love to see him get charged.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. I would like to see him do some jail time. I think that'll be appropriate. You know, you're creating this. You're using police resources. You're getting the media involved. You're changing dynamics of what people think. You know, racial relations. You should serve some jail time, but I don't think he will. He'll get a slap on the wrist like most actors do. I heard this happened after he was kicked off the show. So I'm not.
Well, yeah, he was about to be written off the show apparently, and this is what he tried to do, I guess, to stay on, or you know, and people were comparing it, I think, to Colin Kaepernick or something, you know, like he knew he was going to be booted off. So then he started doing this whole kneeling thing, right? To try to get attention, but it's not a really good way to get attention.
well, Kaepernick just got a big, huge settlement, right?
Yeah. Oh man, that guy, what really pisses me off about that is like, it's like he does that whole commercial with Nike, and it's like, oh, sacrifice everything. Make sure you'll sacrifice. It's like, man, you didn't sacrifice a thing. You're richer than you ever were. Like, you have more money than you ever would have working in the NFL. Like he's probably has like hundreds of millions of dollars now. So he didn't sacrifice a thing. But there was this guy a little while ago that he had to close down his Sporting's Good place because he's no longer selling Nike, and Nike has essentially a monopoly on jerseys. So he had to get rid of like all of his jerseys, and his store eventually closed down. Everybody's like, well, I'm like, well, he's the one who actually stood on his principles no matter what the consequences, because he had to shut down his fucking business. And he's like, well, I don't care. I just don't want to sell Nike's shit anymore. because of the whole, kneeling and them promoting Colin Kaepernick, right?
Yeah, no, I mean the guy's a real sellout. So in that respect, when you say he stuck to his guns, that's Stone, or did you switch to your razor? You use Gillette?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even use a razor or anything. I use this I can't remember what it's called, but it's not Gillette.
Okay.
Some like
I
electric
switched.
fucking razor thing.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. Well, you're growing the beard, so you'll probably want to just trim. But
yeah,
on the neckline. Yeah. Okay. I switched. I fucking threw all my Gillettes away, even though I
yeah,
spent a lot of money on them.
I actually looked up Procter and Gamble, or I think that's what it's called, and I looked at all because they own a lot more than just Gillette.
Yeah.
They have a
Tide,
lot of
detergents, soaps.
like so many detergents, soaps, and all that stuff. Like I recommend everybody go and look up like that Procter, and I think it was Procter and Gamble.
Procter Gamble, yeah.
Yeah, and they have a lot of fucking things, and you're looking at this and you're like, wow, okay. And I also had found I don't know, where was I looking at? All the companies that hire foreign workers, and it was like, in Canada, and it was like McDonald's, it was all the foreign worker program is naming them. And I was like, okay, here's companies not to order from anymore or work with, because they're getting all these foreign workers.
So here's an interesting thing. So if you go to the Gillette website, under that campaign, it's to support the Girls and Boys Clubs of America. Then you start looking at the Girls and Clubs Boys in America. They've been under fire because they take in federal money. Again, another socialist organization that just takes funding. They take in almost $1 million a year, and the board that sits have been investigated numerous times for scandals, for missing monies, and they've had like $500,000 has gone missing with 2 boards of directors. And it's kind of funny, and this was just recently, that now they're plugging this. Gillette is collecting money for toxic masculinity, and they want to collect 500,000, which is equal to the value of the money that's been stolen by this lady and another board member, and give it to Boys and Girls Clubs of Canada, America, right? And I'm just curious as to what will they be promoting, because we know what's happened with the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts in Canada as they're pushing this SJW shit into it. But that's really what it is. That's that commercial. It's and I think it's going to hurt them in the long run, because I've tossed all my shit out, like anything Procter Gamble related. I've tossed out, like I don't have the toothpaste, like Colgate and Crest is Procter and Gamble. You can switch to other brands, but yeah. So it's interesting, if you follow the money, you see where all this shit kind of tumbles.
Right. Yeah. And did you see that stuff about the what do you call it, Gucci, the blackface sweater for Gucci? No. And well, there's like a sweater that everybody's bitching about, and it's like Gucci, and now TI and all these people are boycotting it because they're saying it looks like blackface if you put it up over your face. And it looks like a stupid sweater, and it goes up, it covers you here, and it has big red lips on it. And it has like a white girl wearing it, and it doesn't look like blackface. And then there's also another shoe that was selling by what's her name, Katy Perry, and their shoe is ugly as shit. It has 2 eyes on it, a nose, and a mouth. And people are saying that this shoe is like blackface, and so she had to return the shoe because it was a black shoe, right? But it had like 2 eyes and a nose. But there's a white version of it too, like a beige, right? And everybody's losing their shit. But Mayweather commented about this too, and he's actually awesome, man. Mayweather was like, fuck all you people, because he was at Gucci and he's buying all this shit, and they're like, oh, aren't you boycotting? He's like, no, fuck those people. I'm not a follower. He's like, all these people like TI and all this saying to ban this is like, they're rapping about like murdering people and sex and drugs and all this stuff. And they're like promoting all this bad message, but now they're getting mad at Gucci or something. He's like, I was like, wow, man. I'm like, Mayweather's fucking awesome, man. Honestly, if you look up Mayweather and his comments that he made, like about TI and all that, with the whole blackface thing, or like, because they're all trying to like boycott Gucci and whatnot, but it's all for money. You know, at
Who
the
the
end of
fuck
the
would
day,
spend $900 on this baklava knit top anyway? Why are people spurging out over this? Fuck, there's more
well,
important shit to be
it's
spurging out
it's
over.
it's honestly it's for money. Like it's the whole diversity industry, because now I was reading an article and they're like, Gucci just hired a diversity staff to train them how to properly handle, because you know we have all of these companies that train companies how to, you know, be culturally sensitive, and this is an entire industry, $1 billion industry, that, you know, if you can accuse a company of being racist, then oh, now they got to hire you. Plus all those black people like Ti and all the ones getting mad, it's just an excuse for them to say, don't buy their shit, buy our shit, buy only black people stuff, because white supremacy Gucci is trying to abuse your culture or some nonsense or whatever, and it's just it's all for money, for gain. But they're trying to push a racist agenda as well behind it at the same time, being like, oh, these people are racist and white people are using your culture to wear it or something. Like, look at these shoes, or look up the like blackface shoes. Okay, like here, I'll put in a link because it's hard to believe, but it's fucking Katy Perry
Blackface shoes.
This slant-eyed pose is just offensive. Katy Perry saddened by blackface claims about her shoe. This is real. It's BBC right here. Like, here, I'll put the link in the article.
Yeah, let's see the link.
Chat. Here, it's in the chat. And then I'm gonna find one with Mayweather because he made some fucking awesome comments about T.I. and one sec. Mayweather trades blows the T.I.'s. Oh yeah, 50 Cent was pretty hilarious about him too. He made like wrote some letter and he made fun of like Mayweather.
Okay, these people are fucking trolling now. Like, these shoes, come on. They're fucking trolling. They're just doing it to spur on discussion, and you know, this kind of thing always raises people's eyebrows, and then they go and buy their shit. Like, come on, those shoes are ugly. I don't care what people say. This is trolling. She's got a white pair and a black pair.
Yeah. But if you go to Mayweather's, I think Instagram, that's where he wrote it. I'm going to read the thing from his Instagram. Yeah. It's funny. Instagram. Fuck, I got some stupid goddamn thing up. No, I don't want to accept your fucking cookies, you piece of shit. Jesus Christ. Okay. Here's his No, Mr. I'm not.
I have 1,000 guns, have a mental illness. Oh, fuck, that's hilarious.
Okay, here's this. Where is it here? Okay, so he's like, I gotta move this. In light of the most current boycott and digital outrage, I want to take time to address a couple issues that I myself have trouble wrapping my mind around. For instance, why would we as a people agree to temporarily boycott of Gucci for merely 3 months if what was done caused so much strife? Why would we agree to a permanent boycott, or why wouldn't we agree to a permanent boycott of Gucci as well, all other merchandise that fall under the keyring ownership, such as whatever? I'll tell you why. It's because in this day, celebrities and failing artists pick and choose the hottest trending topic as a means of seeking fuck. I don't know where the rest of the comment is, but I don't know. It was pretty good. Let me see if I can find another article about it. Floyd Weather, but yeah,
Gucci's even got a keychain too, which is they're trolling. They're trolling. Fuck.
Yeah, I think that keychain is kind of trolling. Honestly, maybe that one kind of looks like a little, but I don't know. 50 Cent is pretty funny actually. Like, he made some responses.
I'll check it out.
To
I want to see what. But look, you know, to me, I think, for example, in terms of clothing line, I don't know if everyone saw that French singer, Celine Dion, that made that really fucked up commercial with that kind of satanic, Masonic clothing line, and all the just weird symbolism with the kids behind the horns, almost like doing the Beelzebub look. And I don't know if people know, you know, Moose Knuckle? It's a kind of famous Canadian brand of jackets, high-end jackets.
No,
So,
Moose Knuckle,
yeah,
the actual name of the jacket.
yeah, Moose Knuckle. It's very expensive. They go for like $2,000. The cheapest one I think is around 15, and they got some whatever you call it, regular.
So I was thinking of like a camel toe or something.
Yeah, camel toe, but the symbol's even almost weird, right? You'll just take a look. You'll look up Moose Knuckle. Anyway, so Moose Knuckle actually, and I don't know what's going on with clothing lines, had partnered with Pornhub, and they did a commercial. It's on YouTube. You can look up Pornhub / whatever Moose Knuckle. It's pretty sickening. And I got my daughter like a Moose Knuckle. I did before I even knew about this. And you know, it's like young girls. There's like one girl has like a snake tongue, and she's like rubbing her tits, and like there's like cum juice coming from some robotic phallic symbol. It's just fucking bizarre. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? Like seriously.
Well, you know, you see a lot of those celebrities too, and they purposely do like the satanic symbolism and stuff in their videos, I think, to like they don't actually believe it. Maybe some of them do, but they're like, they know a lot of people will be like, oh, look at a pentagram in the back of her video and stuff. But I don't know, somebody like Lady Gaga, I can believe her being like a Satanist or something. Or like,
I think most movie stars are.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I think that some of them maybe are trolling because they know that it's going to get passed around more. Like if they have a couple pentagrams in the background of their videos, right? Somebody like my buddy, my old roommate, Andre, who's really into conspiracies, would be like, oh man, fucking, oh, you know, and they would watch their video, they'd spread it around, they'd share it with their friends. Look at this video. So, hey, a view is a view, you know what I mean? And that's just metrics. It looks good, you know, for the artists, for the people, gets their music passed around, or they actually fucking believe it and shit. And I think it's probably a little bit of both, honestly. But go ahead.
No, I just think, you know, like our society's changing so much. We have a running kakistocracy, right? In Canada, in the US, in Europe, we have a severe dumbing down of our education system. So we're churning and burning out a whole bunch of nitwits out there that just fall for every bullshit that's sold to them. We have a media companies that are, you know, selling us lies every day. You know, people have to work hard to try to get to the truth. And then you have like clothing lines and corporations trying to also twist the reality and, you know, good old common fashion sense and good old conservative values. And all of this is like, I don't know what's going to happen. I see, you know, I even my mother had a discussion. It almost ended up in an argument. She's like, I tell her, you know, Mom, this is what's happening at work. It's hard to, you know, get by every day because no one speaks English properly. They're all miscommunicating. It takes me longer to get shit done. And, you know, and then she's like, oh, I said, you know, and I hear Trudeau wants to raise taxes on carbon taxes. She's like, oh, but, you know, climate changes exist. I said, no, Mom, please don't believe that shit. Mom, come on. No, I said, Mom, the guy was in a road show and he said it was snowing. It was snowing. But yeah, it's winter. Guess what? It snows in winter. Mom, and she keeps going on. Oh, but you know, the climate's, you know, there's gonna be doom and doom. I said, what are you talking about? The planet oscillates in Orion's arm in our galaxy. You know, the poles do shift. Ice does come and go. Oh yeah, climate change.
Mars is experiencing climate change right now too.
Right. And she's saying, and she's like, you know, we're destroying the world. I said, we're destroying the planet. I said, Mom, we're not destroying the planet. The world's been around for 4 billion years. Oh, how do we know that? I'm like, oh my God. She's like, she's gone cuckoo.
I know. My grandma
off the reservation.
My grandma was, I think, when that whole border crisis thing in America with like the first 10,000 people are trying to cross, you know, we were watching the news and she was like, oh, Trump, you know, he's such a bad guy. And I'm like, no, these people are illegals and they're crossing into the country illegally. I'm like, no, what do you mean? He's like, oh, but he's separating families. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sakes. I'm like, it's not. I'm like, stop watching this. Stop watching CNN and fucking CBC and shit.
Yeah,
Please.
and it's funny because my mom's a lot older now, so she's, I don't know, going senile, or she's starting to buy into all the bullshit, and she says, "Well, you know, we have to." I said, "Mom, we're polluting ourselves. We're not going to destroy the planet. The planet's been around through a lot worse. You know, the moon was essentially the whole skyline at one point, and the Earth crust was like exploding, cracking, and over again." And then it's funny because she keeps going on to the climate change and we're pollution. I said, "Yeah, we got pollution. You know, everybody's talking about climate change, but no one's talking about the key thing, which is the number of people, right? Population is booming, and we don't have enough people per square yard to feed them, to house them." And also, I said, "No one." Yeah, we have a population problem. No one even talks about what's going on in Fukushima, because most of Asia can't power itself. They don't have the resources. So like Japan relies on nuclear power. But you know, if everybody just go and do a Google Earth, look up Fukushima Daiichi, and you'll see thousands of these vats that are holding radiated water, and they put it right next to the ocean, where essentially it busted up 3 of those reactors. You know, like no one's talking about that, but it's all about population. Oh, clean energy, this, and this. And I saw one YouTuber actually come out and talk to some of these New Yorkers who are fucking idiots. I just want to give them a smack across the face. And the guy's saying, we're for climate change and we're all, you know, I love AOC. And the guy says, do you know how much how much America footprint is, percentage? And she couldn't answer. She wouldn't answer. And he says it's 14%. 14%. Do you know what China's is? Do you know what India is? It's an upcoming, like what they're doing? Oh, but we should lead by example. Aren't we already? Like, that should have been the question. Aren't we already leading by example? Why would you put yourself into a corner? But I don't know. Fuck.
Right.
I just kind of sometimes just shrug and go whatever, and hope for the best.
Yeah, no, it's just a lot of propaganda. It's hard to inoculate yourself against it, right? If you're not watching or trying to inform yourself through like different avenues, because a lot of people, they think they're informing themselves by watching like, you know, regular news, but yeah, they're just being fed a lot of propaganda nonsense, you know, like about climate change or whatever, and like what are they going to believe, right? It's unless they're watching stuff like that we get to see on, you know, YouTube or something, then they're not really going to be exposed to different things, right? Or reading books about it or whatever, right?
Yeah,
so,
well,
yeah.
you know, I tried. My father, it's funny, he's aware. He's very aware. They talk it a lot. He goes to his coffees at the Italian club, and they all like whine and bitch about it. But my mom, who doesn't have YouTube, she's not really. She watches her TV and she gets fed this media shit that I have to, like, I have to sit there and kind of go through it and say, no, this is incorrect. That's not correct. That's not correct. But you know, anyway, like, what can I say, right? I have to do that with my kids. They come home from school and I have to reprogram them constantly.
Yeah, that must be fucked up, having to, you know, so what did you learn today? That's pretty much probably what you're going to have to do every day. It's big. So what did they teach you today? What did you learn this week? You know, if you have time, right? Because they're going to be turning your kids against you little by little, you know, and if you're not on top of that, one day, yeah, you're going to wake up. You're going to be like, why does my daughter think I'm oppressive white male patriarchy or something, right? Because
I don't know if I mentioned this. Yeah, I don't know.
ahead.
I think I mentioned this on a Discord. I'm not here on the show, but I told you that like my daughter's teacher is she's white, right? But she believes heavily in multiculturalism. She pushes respect for Muslims, and we have to keeps pushing the respect for Muslims, respect for Muslims. And then one day there was an older teenager at the kid's school, and they were saying, you have to get off the property, you don't belong here. And he turned around and called her a white witch, which is hilarious because she's, you know, it's like you pushing this. some teenager wasn't supposed to
Oh
be on
my
the school grounds, and she's saying, oh, you have to leave, and she's always also pushing, because 95% of that school, my kid's school, is Chinese. So she's like, oh, we have to, they have all the Chinese writing, everything is in, like, you get English, you get Chinese first, all the information packets, and it's Chinese, English after that. So then she told this kid to get off the property, and just calls her, shut up, you white witch.
Right. That's fucked up.
It's hilarious. Yeah, and someone says here they're teaching kids to change the gender, and it's true, because at school, like, even my daughter would come home, there's a bunch of boys running on, hey, I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay. Now, I know to them it's like it doesn't really mean anything yet, but just even you're setting a perception, you're setting precedent, right? So
yeah, well, kids are manipulated. Like, you can easily influence children, and like teaching kids about this gender fluidity stuff early on is going to be confusing them. Like, especially probably the way that they're teaching kids. It's not going to be like unbiasedly or whatever. Like, I don't know. It seems like it's creating like little trans kids that shouldn't be trans, and when they grow up and realize, like, when they're just they go through puberty and go through like the normal things, and they start being attracted to the opposite sex, and they think they're like, that's gonna really fuck with a lot of people's minds. Like,
absolutely, they're gonna meet a gay guy. They're gonna run. Like, I went to university. I went to Ottawa, and I was riding my bike, and there was a couple of gay guys. Hey, Betty, how's it going? Like that. And I was like, fuck off. Thanks for the compliment, though. And I'm riding away, right? But that was because I grew up oozing machismo as a kid. I get beaten up, and I beat up people when I was the bully, and then I was bullied. This is kind of trials and tribulations of a guy growing up. And girls are even worse. They bully each other. They're always constantly backstabbing, that kind of shit. But these kids are going to grow up like this. So they're going to grow up, hey, being gay is okay. It's quite normal. You don't really have to pick a gender. You can kind of, go from being gay to being somewhat gay to not gay to bi to hetero, straight, whatever fluidity you want to choose. It's all good. So meanwhile, inside, they really are hetero, right? They as a guy, likes a nice TNA. He walks in, and it's like some guy, hey, baby, starts feeling him up all over. He's like, yeah, okay, I guess this is normal. Gets the first time shoved up his ass, and he'd be like, oh, no way. No, definitely no. And he'll be scarred for life because, hey,
right.
Everything goes.
Right, and it's all relative, right? It's all relative to these people. Like, yeah, that's the problem is, cultural relativism. There's nothing wrong, there's nothing right. And I'm not one of these people who are like, oh, gay is bad, whatever. I don't care, like, if you're gay or if you're a tranny or whatever.
Keep it to yourself. Yeah, if you want to fuck goats, that's great.
Keep it to yourself. Don't teach our kids. Don't put it in schools in the curriculum like they're doing in Ontario. And now they're freaking out like, oh, they're going to go back to the old one. Like, what was happening 10 years ago where gays being strung up in trees or something? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Jesus Christ.
It's
if we teach our kids this,
exactly.
Progress will stop. We've already been progressing for 30, 50, 40 years. We're not doing bad shit to gay people, and we're teaching the old curriculum. So if progress was happening with the old curriculum, then that would imply we don't need to teach kids about butt sex and fucking whatever else you want to fucking teach them, that they can be any gender that they want, because it's going to reduce. Because then they'll always quote the statistics. Oh, well, trannies are killed proportionally more. And well, because they're prostitutes. And when you're a prostitute, you're going to be killed more often. And
right, but if you look at the numbers, there's such a small percentage. So if one of them dies, it's like all of them.
Yeah, and they, you know what they do? They blackmail people all the time. They blackmail people because they're like, I'm a tranny. Nobody wants to know that you fuck trannies. So then they're like, hey, give me a lot of money to like a politician, like Marco Rubio will go pick up a fucking tranny will bang the tranny, and then the tranny will later be like, "Hey, Marco Rubio, I'm going to, do," and then they end up dead in a fucking gutter, and they're like, "Oh, LGBT violence against the trans." It's like, well, you shouldn't have been blackmailing these people, using, like, you did it to yourself 90% of the fucking time.
Well,
So I feel
and that's the thing, right? There's probably a lot of
trans.
guys, right? And there's a lot of guys that like cock and balls, and they're in heterosexual families. Now listen to this. 10 years ago, I had a contract with a major company, and they told me when I had to go and do their non-disclosure agreement, NDA, and a whole bunch I have to go through some, like, human resources training, yada, yada, yada. They told me I could not say that I was married. And I'm not kidding. That was 10 years ago. I could not say because it would kind of make someone who's gay uncomfortable, because so you just say you have a partner, and I said, fuck that, I'm going to say I'm married. I have a wife. You can't say you have a wife. You have to say I have a partner. Well, no, yeah. I'm not gay, so I'm not saying partner, right? Like,
yeah, fuck that, right? Like, come on.
Right.
I know Kelly Day was saying that in one of her videos. She was saying something about her and her partner, and then I'm like, your partner? Like, what the fuck? It's like, who the hell uses partner as a word anymore? I'm like, I kind of gave her shit for that.
It sounds like you're in a business transaction.
Call your husband, because I'm like, I didn't know if you were gay or not. Because not that, like I said, not that I have a problem with that, but like when anybody that use their partner to describe their, like, significant other or whatever, their husband, their wife, then I think they're gay, honestly. Because I'm like, are they saying that because that's what people say with gays? But you know what? And gay people stole that fucking term, which pisses me off, because a partner should be like, your partner in business.
Right. Exactly.
Partner, but now whenever you hear it, you think you're a gay lover, and it's like, no, that's my partner. Now, that's why we have wife and husband. Like, Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. And it's crazy. So a lot of terms get fucking hijacked, like jovial. Hey, I'm feeling very jovial today. And I don't know. And then jovial really came from gay. I'm feeling really gay today. It was in the 50s. And they're like, yeah, great. You're happy. You're jovial. No, you can't say that anymore because the term got stolen. How did fucking gay from being happy? So it meant, I'm gay. I'm always happy. I'm gay. I fudge packed a guy's poop shoot today, and it was great. I feel happy. The terms and words are being manipulated all the time. But, like, you have to be on guard because, so it's really hard with my kids, right? Because we go to malls, and I start seeing these trannies, like, guys. You could tell, he's a guy, and he has a wig on. He has, like, a purse, and he's. Women don't walk around like that anyway. I don't know why they act like this. They overcompensate, with the women, like, I think I'm going to walk like that. The women don't act like that. Real women don't act like that. So I don't know why they overcompensate. Maybe because they are masculine. Their hormones are masculine, so they try to overdo it. Anyways, my daughter's like, oh, look at that. Sweetie, just walk the other way. And we'll keep walking. Don't pay any attention to them. I said sometimes people escape the insane asylum, and we want to give them a wide berth. So just don't give any, and I have to do this, right? Because everywhere she gets this, even at my work, I have these, like, posters, like rainbow posters, and the guy's obviously, he thinks he's an elephant or something, and he's like, yeah, I'm beautiful, and we get high, we hire everybody. No, I'm not going to accept that. Sorry. I mean, I had a guy at work that was walking around with he was transitioning, and it just creeped the crap out of me. He looked like one of those pedo stalkers, and he was heavily balding, like maybe because, I don't know, he was preparing to put a wig on or more hair, and he had gotten breast implants done, and it just really looked odd. It looked like God took a puzzle and just said, fuck it, I'm just gonna, like, reposition this here and everything. It was just like a monster. But yeah, I didn't see him maybe fully transition, didn't come back to work. It was weird.
It's confusing for children to see, a grown man that with a big Adam's apple and like manly features, dressed like a woman walking around. It's disturbing. It's confusing, and we shouldn't be teaching our kids and like having them like be read at school by a bunch of transsexuals. That's just wrong. I like I'm saying, I don't have anything wrong. I don't have anything against them. I don't want them to whatever be like completely shunned from society or something. But like, I don't know. We've reached a point where it's gone too far, way too far, and nobody is like pushing back. Like I'm waiting for people to be like, okay, that's too much. Okay, that's too much. Whatever. They just keep pushing it.
Yeah, but that's what happens, right? Because when you accept, so where do we go back? Like before, it was like we're in the closet. Now we want to come out. Okay, you can come out. All right. Now we wanna get married in a church. Why? Like the church doesn't respect that. They don't want. Why are you pushing?
It's funny how nobody. Sorry.
Well, no, they keep pushing it, right? So now we want to have kids, but that's not normal. You can't have a kid should have like a female, a yin and a yang, a female and a male to understand both sides. No, we want to have kids now. Okay, have kids now. No, now we want to give hormones to kids and fuck them up for the rest of their life so they can commit suicide. Like it just never stops. And the next thing is transableism. Oh, I'm gonna pour bleach in my eye so I can feel what it's like to be, disabled. It just like the weirdness, the Dionysian is not going to stop. It'll get worse.
Right? Yeah, the slippery slope is a real thing that people like. You notice how nobody really brings up that argument anymore. Like, oh, it's the slippery slope argument because like it's been proven to be true or something at this point. So no, you never hear anybody bring up that anymore and say, oh, it's. Because we've already reached it. Like now,
when you've almost completed the whole taboo list, what the fuck's next? Like now they're talking about cannibalism. Hey, cannibalism is not bad. There was a theater show somewhere in the U.S. or it was either in Germany or in New York. I can't remember, but it was where they hung this guy and he cut a piece of his back. It was like art, and then he was eating his piece. Like, look, cannibalism is cool. Fuck off.
Well, it's those degenerate elite people that are like, that's probably what they do anyways. See, they're trying to like make pedophilia and cannibalism okay, so then they can have their I don't know, drink baby blood or something like that. Where people are like,
they can live forever. Yeah, it's insanity, and it just what the fuck happened to humanity? And I think it has a lot of like. For example, I always get teased a lot. Oh, you don't watch sports. Ha, ha, ha. I go, why? Why am I watching athletes make millions of dollars for playing a game? I like to watch. I like to go to the field. Yeah. Go to a baseball field, watch the kids play. It's fun. Right? Watch soccer games by amateurs. It's more fun than watching billion-dollar stars kick around the ball and live a luxurious life. And what do you go home for 9 to 5? Most of the planet works 9 to 5, trudging along, and they don't complain. They just do it because they know this is what I need to do to survive. This is, and that small percentage are making a killing on people's stupidity. And I get teased a lot. Oh, you don't watch sports? Yeah, I don't watch sports. Fuck sports.
Yeah, no, me either.
Used to watch the Olympics. I can't fucking watch it. I just can't stomach it. After what they did in South Africa, not allowing Africans to sell their like foods and stuff, and Adidas came in and says, "No, you got to clear out. This is their country. You went in there, and they couldn't even view the games anyway." And then you heard about all of this athletic association, all the scandals and shit. I can't stomach to watch World Cup. I used to watch it of all the bullshit scandals. It just makes me sick. I don't know. Maybe I have my morals are way too fucking high, but I can't. So whatever. I enjoy my life watching you and others, talk about things that matter.
Right. And like, how's your channel going anyways?
My channel is okay. It's growing, like, I'm not in it for I'm not in it for the subs. I'm there to kind of, I'm doing it for fun, and I want to let people know. I want to hey guys, wake up. You are being preyed on, and as long as you get if people start becoming aware, none of this shit would go on. None of it. But I don't know, like, you know, for example, Daniel made a new video today and he's pressing people to vote, vote, vote. I get it. I know. And I get you too, that you guys want to support this politician. I just can't. Inside me, I want to get excited. Like, yeah, okay. I want to get behind the PPC. But I can't, because I've seen it over and over and over again. This shit was with the Liberals, then it was with the Conservatives, then it was with the NDP. They're all garbage to me. All politicians are garbage. I can't see it any other way, because I've seen my country change since the 70s. It used to be fun growing up in this country. I used to go watch movies and enjoy them. Like, fuck yeah, you know, Luke Skywalker got his hand hacked and shit. I don't have to worry about which some Looney Tune that escaped the insane asylum they didn't lobotomize that week go and tell me, oh, you know, it's toxic masculinity. What? Enjoy the movie. Fuck off. And everything's not fun anymore. Video games are not fun. Movies are not fun. Comics are not fun. Like, anything you want to do. And if you saw, I sent you that video about that guy, the Japanese YouTuber who talks about like social issues and shit. And that psychopath, that black girl who goes and says, I fucked 50 guys. I get to take their dick into my hole. And then some couple of Japanese guys spit in her face because she's a whore. And then she's now playing the victim and she's shitting on the Japanese people and this. Get the fuck out. You know, if you were in China talking like that, they'd use you for body parts, but probably throw you in the trash anyway because they're all defective.
Yeah. So the Japanese are my favorite Asians, I'd have to say. My favorite one.
Racist as fuck, but I don't care because they care about their own people. You know, well, somewhat. I don't know. You talk to.
Are they really racist? You know, I guess a little.
That's why I say they are racist, which is they believe in their own nationality. I want Anglo-Saxons like yourself to wake up. Hey, you want to bring the Canada back to the like what it was, the forefathers. This is why my parents immigrated here. Because they saw Canadians have something to offer. I want to be a part. I want to give. I don't want to take. I want to give. But that shit doesn't happen anymore because I don't know what happened. Something, screws got loose. You know, too much. Right. The water is turning the frogs gay.
It's turning the frogs gay. But, hey, Jamie, what's up? You got your mic muted there.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going, buddy? I think you've been on before, right?
Yes, I have.
So what's up, man?
I don't know, just me, nothing much. Just, I don't know, watching society fall apart.
So do you got any channel yourself or anything, or what's your background exactly?
My background is in a lot of things, but I went to university. I went through the whole thing, got my BA, went to law school, got my law degree, and I'm just sort of doing you call my articling right now. But I mean, I saw going through education, I saw how there's such a push in the academic world to be left wing.
Right.
And now it's when I was in university, I thought it was bad with feminism. Now there's this extreme push of transgender, gender identity, intersectionality, and where a guy can feel like a woman and then go into a woman's bathroom. It's just madness. I don't know where all that's going. This push for celebrating people's feelings rather than facts.
So what year did you graduate from university?
I got my BA in 2006, and
right.
I worked for a number of years doing various different jobs, worked at a software company, then went back to school and got my law degree just because I didn't know what to do with my BA. I mean, getting a degree now, unless you're using it as a stepping stone for something, I would advise people to go to college and get a trade or get a skill of some kind. That's way better.
You need go ahead. Sorry.
All the guys who I know who went to college, who got a trade or a skill set, they're doing better than me in terms of the quality of their life. And I've been through the whole academic world. They were there for maybe 2, maybe 3 years in college. Then they came out and they got, they started making good money and building up their life. And that's those skills you can't take away from somebody.
Right. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. You know, if you can build a house, if you can build a roof, a floor, all
yeah,
these
and
things, like those. Go ahead.
Yeah, those jobs don't seem to be celebrated that much in society. Like, I
No.
don't see anybody saying, "Well, I want to be a plumber," but there's always a need for.
Same with motherhood. You know, that's something else that's nowadays is treated like shit. Your women will look down on other women who choose to do that, and especially in university and stuff. Like, I've known women who say that they're like, "Oh, you know, you want to be a mother or this and that. Like, you don't want to get a job and yada yada yada." But a lot of that is such a valuable thing in society for women to do, and it's such like a important job that that should be celebrated. And it is an important job. It's not the hardest job in the world, but it's one of the most important jobs in the world. And same with like trades and stuff too. Like I do roofing, right? You're always gonna need a roof. You're always gonna need a roof. You're always gonna need it. In a recession, people are gonna need their roofs repaired, and I can do it at a fucking discount, so I can still fucking make money and survive and know how to build and
even if society, even if society goes under, you're always going to need stuff like that.
Right.
You know,
yeah, exactly.
You could even, like, let's say society goes completely under, you don't have money anymore. You can barter with people. Okay, I'll fix your house for you giving me X, Y, and Z.
Exactly. Right.
Right, and it's something that's real, and I think that's the problem. We're like entering into this world where society is becoming this abstract idea, and I don't think it is. I think that society is made up of people, and when you disparage people in whatever they are doing, and you convince people that their feelings are real, and you ignore real genuine skill sets, you just have this deterioration of competence and merit, where you get this gobbledygook socialist crap. Like, another thing I can't believe that Karl Marx, like, that crap that he spewed, I can't believe that's coming back.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that socialist nonsense. We've already seen what's happened in history with Karl Marx, and the fact that that's coming back now, that's terrible. Like, that's not good.
Yeah, his statue was just defaced apparently, and where like his statue, right? And all these people on Twitter are like, "Oh my God, how could you do that?" And some people are like blaming him for what happened to the Russians is like blaming, I don't know, the previous leader before Mao for killing all these people. And it's like, that's not a good comparison, because it was the ideology behind, Karl Marx that led up to, Lenin and all the Bolsheviks and all this stuff in Russia. So like, you can blame him, not directly, like he didn't directly say all of these things, but his ideology itself is what led to those things. I don't know. Do you have your, can you turn down your mic a little bit, or I mean the volume on your TV? I think I might hear it as a background noise. But yeah, you're completely right. I'm interested in your in you in university and how it was at that point in time in 2006. And you said you went back to finish your other degree. What year was that around? Did you say when you went back to university?
I finished my law degree about a year ago, so I'm just sort of out of law school. So I'll try and see if I can adjust. I don't know. Let's see, settings here, voice. I don't know where.
Well, I guess if I start talking, you can just mute it or something, and then when you talk, it should be okay.
Yeah, that works. Yeah. So, what I've seen is a growth, a push for more of this sort of gender studies, pushing for people's feelings, and just more of that nonsense where you see somebody for their skin color, their race, or their gender, and rather than seeing
Intersectionality.
exactly, rather than seeing the actual individual. And I don't think that's a good direction that we should be taking society. And for me, personally, it makes me wonder, why should somebody get married? Why should somebody start a family if this is the direction that you're taking society in? I'm sure you've heard of all that stuff like with MGTOW
Yeah.
and men just sort of giving up. It makes me start to think that that's a legitimate way to take a person's life, because that's just how I feel. Like, again, you guys were talking about that Gillette ad, and I thought that Gillette ad was ridiculous. And if you demonize male sexuality and a guy can't even approach a woman, I mean,
Well, that was even going deeper than that. That was demonizing like white men as well. If you look at that Gillette commercial, and if you look at, all the bad men and all the good men and all this stuff, it was all black guys, all the time stopping the white guy from going and hitting on this girl or something, right? And yeah, you can't even look or stare at women without them. And it really comes down to a subjective perspective on a woman's part, because if the girl likes the guy, then it's not harassment. If she likes the guy, then it is harassment. You know what I mean? And it's yeah, it's so easy for men to have their lives ruined, and no wonder so many guys are going to MGTOW and to all these other things, because they feel like that's the only option, because it's like it's too risky to be in a relationship with a woman nowadays, because she could accuse you of rape after you both had sex drunk, and now your life is completely ruined. So that's just going to destroy the relationships between men and women. We're going to have less children, and then they're going to replace us with a bunch of third world immigrants from different countries. So it's like, this is exactly what they want. They want women to go to university, go to school until they're in their 30s, get a bunch of money, and then not find any man to date because they're not all in university. They don't make as much money as them or whatever. And then a lot of these women, it's like they feel like they're making a lot more money or whatever, but they're just working for the government half the time. If you look at who works for the government, it's like 70% fucking women or something. And they're getting paid really good money oftentimes to do that. So it's like, that's what they want. They want these women, they work for the government, then they have more power, then they have more voting power, then they can vote for, I don't know, more shit, more abortion clinics and all that crap, that brings down the population number even more. But the only people that they seem to want to reduce the population size seems to be European people. And everybody else, it's like good that their populations is growing. It's all, we want our population to grow in Canada to 100 million, but I guess just not with like white people or something like that, because that would have like, I don't know, that would breed white supremacy and whatnot, and more white people bad, less white people good, right? But go ahead.
Yeah, I agree there. And I also see, like, being in university, I thought about dropping out many times, but the only reason why I stayed in mainly had to do with my mother. She really wanted me to get a degree and said, it's really important to get that degree. You won't be able to make that much money. And, I take a look at friends of mine, who one's a contractor. He owns a very good contracting business, and like, he's doing far better than me. Did 2 years in college, came out, started working immediately. And sometimes I wish I had just gone that route instead of going through the university system and hearing all about socialism and left-wing identity and gender nonsense, which is just, I don't know if you guys have been in that world or you've seen videos on the internet about all this stuff, but this stuff has like completely wrecked the university system. This whole left-wing weird stuff has it's I don't know, it's almost made it pointless. And I don't know. I think the whole thing's messed, and I find it very difficult out there to find people who I can talk to about this sort of thing. It's like
Yeah.
every time when I go out there, I have to pretend to be like a left-wing person. And
Really?
it's just like all the time, and everybody, buys into this stuff like, like I'm in Canada, I live in Ontario, and everyone around me hates Trump. They all say Trump's a Nazi, and all this crap. And it's just like, I feel like I have to kind of pretend to go along with it because everybody else is, but I don't really. So, I mean,
right.
I don't know.
It's hard to kind of break the ice with people, especially, but you got to remember too, is that a lot of people are probably like you in a sense too, where they're thinking that everybody's playing the game together, but not everybody, most people don't even agree at the same time. Like everybody thinks, oh, we need to say Trump is bad because that's what the media says. But all it really takes sometimes is one person to come out from the crowd and be like, you know what? I like what Trump is doing. I think he's doing a good job. And people will be like, whoa, what? And probably some people will attack you. I wouldn't recommend to do it in your work setting or anything like that. I wouldn't put your life at risk in your monetary, your money at risk for something like that necessarily. But in certain settings and, maybe with strangers and stuff like family members and stuff where I have less risk, bring that up, because sometimes it just takes one person to just get people to start being like, yeah, that I do actually like what he's doing too. And like, now I can say what I really think because there's somebody else that is saying it too. They did some experiment where they took a bunch of university students or whatever, and they had one guy, they showed a bunch of lines of different sizes, and they're like, oh, which one is the biggest line? And they had one guy in there that was not an actor, but then they had the rest of the people that were actors, and that person didn't know that. And all the people that were actors lied about which is the biggest line. They said it was the smaller line that was bigger. And like 40% of the time, or a good amount of time, a lot of people would be like, they would switch their answer to something that is wrong because they wanted to stay with the crowd. They didn't either. Their perceptions literally changed. They saw the line as bigger, or they just didn't want the pushback from the rest of the crowd. But when they added one person into the experiment that said the right answer, then that person would change their answer back to the right thing, or they would see it correctly. So it's like, it was kind of like experiment. All they would need, and even though the rest of the three people still said the wrong answer, all they needed was one person to say the right answer for them to be emboldened enough to say what they really believe, So it's good, I think, to, when the chance is good, bring up that type of stuff. But go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, recently I was in a bar, and somebody came in wearing a Make America Great
That's
Again hat, and people were looking at him like, "Whoa, this is a bad person," and people were talking about him. I'm like, really? Like, he's not wearing a swastika. Like, what are you're going to equate that now to? We're going down that road where we start equating that to Nazism. I thought it was crazy. Like, okay, he likes Trump, big deal. Like
yeah, that's insane if you think about it, and then, but that's a good conversation starter too, and be like, really for just what he believes and shit. And, I like I've said that at work too. I've talked about Trump and some of the policies, but I'm like a bunch of roofers, I don't think anybody's really going to care. And, and I'm talking about Trudeau and how shitty he is and stuff at work. And, some people, you'd be surprised how willing some people are to listen and be like, and if you bring up some stuff about what he's doing or what the Democrats are really doing with like an immigration or some of the policies they're trying to promote or whatever, if like you know a little bit of what you're talking about, then you can convince surprisingly a good amount of people. Like in work, I convinced a few people to be like, like supportive of Trump and like not like Trudeau or whatever, just like half an hour talking in the morning about it or whatever. But like I said, I don't recommend everybody to bring it up at their work, because that can be risky depending on where you work. I don't want to put your job at jeopardy because of some fucking leftists that you work with are retarded, right? But whenever the chance presents itself and you have the ability to, you got to take that opportunity. Like, maybe in a bar, maybe that could be a little bit dangerous too. And bringing it like putting on a MAGA hat and then trying to start a conversation with a leftist is going to be more difficult. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that per se, but that can also work too, because it's a good shocking thing, if people can see, okay, this person is kind of average. But if you're just kind of talking with people and trying to get through to them, then it's maybe not good to like kind of shock them right away and be like, just start talking about policies, start talking about what is really going on in America. And a lot of people are just so ignorant about what is going on in Canada, over the border, in Europe, all over the world. They're so ignorant that once you start illuminating some of these things, they're like, wow, holy fuck. I was having a conversation with this Filipino guy at work about Trudeau, and he's like, well, fuck, I'm not voting for that guy, afterwards. And I'm like, yeah, man, like he's doing this, he did this, that, and people, like I said, most people don't watch the news. They're not paying attention to this type of stuff. And the media takes advantage of headlines purposely, like they know that most people don't read the actual story. They just read the headlines. They don't pay attention to the news that closely. So they write things purposely a certain way, and then they just get most of their information from that. And then they're left with that impression. But if they actually like read the article, they would see it's not actually what the headline says. But the person who usually writes the article and the person who writes the headline are often two different people as well. So it's usually somebody else. It's the editor or something that writes the headline for the story. But they know most people are just ignorant and don't watch much news and whatnot. And they know that if they kind of skim the news a little bit, that they know Trump bad, we need to be against him because he's a white supremacist, hates immigrants, and wants to separate men and women or family members or something, right? Because he's a monster. But if you just explain to them what is really going on, and if you kind of educate yourself enough to be able to properly explain to them, then you should be able to convince some people. And maybe that's not the best way to convince a lot of people at once, but at least it's something, at least you in your own life, you can do something, and maybe surround yourself with people that can talk to you. Because at the same time, it's like, are these really your friends if you can't talk to them about politics? If they're going to accuse you of being a racist and you've known them for all these years, are they really your friends? Should you even waste your time with these people, spending time with these people? No, probably not. There are people probably in your city that do believe a lot of things you believe. As you know, with like just a channel, on my channel and all these people, most of these people are from Canada. Maybe some of them live in your city, right? And we can start things, where people can meet up and start hanging out with people and meet friends with people that do share common interests, right? Because, yeah, it's hard to be around people that believe in are leftists. So the only thing that we can really do about that is that either kick them out of your life or try to convince them, that they're wrong. But it's, like I said, it's for you, depending on your situation, like, especially in the academic field, that's going to be difficult. Like, I'm not going to say people in university should necessarily go and start battling with their university professors, because then they're going to get down marked, and then their career or their education could be hurt by that. So maybe that's not the best place to start challenging them, right? But in your day-to-day life and all that, that's a good thing. But you know, I couldn't imagine what you probably went through in university, especially recently. You know, I've heard it was bad. What you said, 2006, they were just kind of pushing more of the gender thing, and then when you went back, it was more of the transsexual stuff.
It's all about it's all about the transgender nonsense now, and all this stuff that we see in the media now of the white male patriarchy and white male privilege. I saw that stuff more than 10 years ago in my university where I graduated. I saw the resentment, and I even saw, early signs of it brewing when I was in high school. Just the idea of like a guy shouldn't find a girl attractive, or I shouldn't hold a door open for a girl, or I shouldn't give her a compliment. And it was a very, very demoralizing and very discouraging feeling to have. And you said about trying to find people who you can talk to about this, and I agree. But the people who I'm also talking about I have a lot of family members who are left-leaning, and they like Trudeau and they hate Trump. And I remember one of them said to me recently that they should get rid of the borders between Canada, America, and Mexico, and just make one country out of those three countries, so that we can compete with the European Union. I'm like, what the fuck?
The European Union that's completely failing and falling apart right now. Well, but hold on, guys. Can I get right back? I got to. I have a stock that's simmering. I gotta turn it off for 1 sec. I'll be right back.
Yep.
Just keep talking. If Fredrick is still there,
I'm still on. I do have a question.
Be right back. Right back.
So, when you were going to your university, you were taking your law classes. What were they saying about transsexuals?
Well, the thing about transsexuals, it's not that they're necessarily pushing it, but the idea that was in women's studies, that's now called gender studies, was kind of rolling over into law and affecting the way people look at issues. And it was more about the idea of promoting people's feelings. So, you have your truth and your way of looking at the world, and I have my truth and my way of looking at the world. There really is no such thing as facts that may prove one person is right and the other person is right. It doesn't work like that. That's the general idea that they were pushing. And of course, being on campus and seeing things like this is a gender fluid bathroom, that's all over the place now. Those are the kind of things that they were pushing. Oh, and they were also saying, one of the things I kept hearing again and again is that there is no difference. There is no difference at all between a transgender woman and a normal woman. So there's no difference at all. So, I mean, clearly there's a difference between the two of them. One can give birth to a child, the other cannot. So the idea, the push for things that in what I saw were against facts and against truth. And when you're pushing that in a law school where people are supposed to think critically and examine the facts of a situation, I mean, there are lawyers out there who are in criminal law, who are in family law, corporate law, real estate, you name it, who have this way of thinking of the world, very left-leaning bias, and it's now in law. And I don't see that good for anybody. I don't see that good for society at all.
Well, it wasn't an OAC that on with Anderson Cooper. She was arguing that we should look at things more from a moral perspective rather than always looking at it from a factual perspective. And there's only one way to look at things. It's from a factual perspective. But leftists can't argue fact. It's impossible, right? If you're trying to justify stupidity, you just look stupid yourself. So what in the end, they try to push morality, and they do this to my kids. They're constantly pushing to my daughter and my son, well, we have to all be fair and stuff. And I'm like, no, you don't have to be fair. Like my daughter was being teased that she was a Christian and that she believed in God. And then I told this to my principal, my kid's principal, when I said I don't want her attending these gender fluidity classes. And I said, she was teased for being Christian. Oh, we need to really look into that. We don't tolerate bullying. I go, no, don't worry about it. She can handle herself. Trust me. I've taught her. She's a strong girl. She'll take care of it on her own, right? I don't need you to get engaged. And if there is an engagement, it's going to be by me, the parent. So, yeah, I see. It's kind of sad what you're going through university. I mean, when I went to university in Ottawa, we didn't have any of that shit. Like we didn't have, there was, Rainbow Village in a sense, but no one cared two shits about it. So yeah.
Right. But this stuff now is potentially going into law. The whole thing with Jordan Peterson, where he was against, instituting, what was it? Those laws on pronouns where you're essentially forced. If a guy comes up to you and says he feels like a woman, you have to identify that person as a she. When you start legislating this stuff into law and you're forcing people to conform to something that isn't true, it's not real, it's just in people's heads. It's like you're creating this society where it becomes anti-truth and anti-facts. And it's like you're living in this fantasy Wizard of Oz world. And I don't know the end result of that, but I don't think it's going to be pretty. I mean, you said you had kids. I would be concerned about them because they're going to be the ones growing up in that future world.
Yeah, well, what's happening is it's a full frontal. You got to look at from many variables, right? Economic, social, family. The attacks are like this, and I've seen this happen. I've come from Eastern Europe, where I've seen how these people operate. If you break down the family, then break down the social units, and then economic units, you essentially break down society. It's very easy to control. So what do? They break down the man who can earn a living, right? They force the woman to get into a job so they can support the family. Now, if women want to go work, that's fine. But essentially, you're also helping to break up the family, because when couples have kids, you barely have time for each other. Now you even have no time for each other because you're both working, you're both exhausted. You got to decompress. You don't have time for the kids. Kids want your attention. Things start breaking down easily. You can't keep an eye on your kids. Parenting is gone. So now the state becomes your parent. Economically, we need to introduce wage controls, and we're going to do guaranteed income for you. So that's another form of control. It just never fucking ends with the Marxists. And trust me, I've been to when I was in a small country in Croatia, there in Variš, I used to go visit my grandmother. My mom would have to make a call to my father, and at the post office, it's the posta, the guy would there'd be 3 people at the window. They all work by the time, not by the quality. And they would look at the paper, stamp next, and it would be like in the movie. They could make the paper go to the next person, and they would stamp 5 times to make a phone call to somewhere in Canada. And that's where we're going. But people, the youth, usually the youth are the easiest, right? You had the youth brigades in communist China. They killed so many people, and in the end, Mao killed them too. The same thing happened in Russia. They had the youth brigades. Same thing happened in World War II Germany. They had the youth brigades.
Fucking Nazis.
Absolutely.
I just thought I'd add my 2 cents.
Sorry, man. I know you had to make your vegan chicken stock.
Yeah. Don't shit talk my fucking chicken stock, man. It was boiling too much, and I went, and it was like almost reduced, like halfway. And I was like, fuck. But it should taste pretty good. I added more water to it. But yeah, that's a bad interruption. What exactly were you guys talking about right just now, though?
I was just asking him, like, what is university like? What kind of transgender topics are they bringing up?
Oh, right.
Because I didn't have it when I was going to school. It was all like a free for all.
Yeah, like, you know what? When I was in school, and that wasn't like, I guess it was like 10 years ago or something more now, but there wasn't all of this shit going on. There wasn't, you know, there was propaganda. There was, you know, kind of fake news. I mean, not fake news, but there was kind of this statist. There always is kind of like a statist kind of, you know, they never ever talk about how, you know, it's like everything that we have today was like granted to us by the government. That's kind of like the idea you have when you leave school, or at least kind of I did. They didn't really teach anything to do with like small government or anything like that, but they didn't teach the like transgenderism, anything to do with gay people or anything like that. There wasn't so much like now they teach kids. I think like I left school and it was a couple of years after where they started teaching a lot more stuff about Aboriginals and how, like, you know, white people are terrible for what we did to residential schools. I think we learned some stuff about residential schools, but not like, there wasn't so much of this shit that there is now where like what you were saying, I think Fredrick, or like what some of your little kids have told you, or what, when they get home, you have like, I wasn't being taught that when I was a little kid. You know, I was born 1989 or something, right? So like I'm not that fucking old. But hey, Faye, I hope you're okay. By the way, I heard what happened to you. Somebody said you hit a pothole and you broke your arm and your collarbone. So I hope you're doing okay, Faye. Sorry for doing that, but I just noticed her in the chat.
No, I hope she's doing all right too. You know.
Yeah, that's shitty, by the way.
Fucking pothole. Spending millions of dollars every year and they never fucking fix the roads.
Right. Exactly. You know, you get people getting hurt, but you know, hopefully she's okay though. But
yeah, I hope so too. No, you know what it is? It's a slow burn, and people keep saying that it's Trudeau. Yeah, Trudeau's a maniac, right? He's a cuck.
Yeah.
And I am sure that guy is gay, or he has homosexual tendencies. I don't know, because there's something not quite right in his head. Now, but this has been going on forever. Harper didn't get rid of the TFW program. He just upped it and increased it. He raided the EI. Same with Chrétien as well. The Liberals introduced the TFW program. Why do we have TFW programs? I can't pull up into a Tim Hortons anymore and get a good coffee anymore because nobody understands me. So I, you know, just for shits and giggles, I once went with a friend. We pulled up backwards, and I started talking gibberish on the mic. Coffee. Maybe they'll understand that. As I said earlier, I can't understand anybody at work. Everybody's talking their own bloody language. You know, everybody has their own bloody dialect. No one's speaking proper language. Yeah, and they have different cultural subsets. They don't like to tell the truth. I'll give you an example. Chinese, it's very hard for Chinese to say no. They feel that it's you know, like with Americans and Europeans, we have a hard no. No, I will not do that. But for them to say no, it's impolite. It's you know, because they've through generational genetic upbringing, you know, from every emperor on, they've always had to be subservient. So they never say no. They say yes, and you think, oh yeah, okay, everything's great. Yeah, and nothing's great. It's all the opposite.
Well, they did some studies about white men working in offices, in multicultural offices, and they found that like everybody else, they're working like Black, Asian, women, all that stuff. Their quality of work didn't change at all. You know, if they work with a lot of white people or white men, I think it increased a little bit. But if it was like all multicultural, it didn't really change too much. But for like white men, it went down because, you know, they're thinking that their explanation was like, oh, it's because they're no longer in a position of power, and they're seeing all these minorities and they're sad because they're being displaced in their positions of authority or some bullshit. But it's like, no, it's because of what you're describing. You know what I mean? Like what you go through, and how it's just like people don't work with you, and how they go in their little groups. They speak their own language. They're like, yeah, no. It's like, what are we doing here? Fuck this. Go ahead.
You can go to a cafeteria and you could see that they all stick in their own little in groups. The Chinese will stick with the Chinese. The Indians will stick with the Indians. The Indian Muslims will stick with the Indian Muslims. And they all stick in their little, and they're all blabbering in their own language. And it's like, where do I, and that is the small example. You know, Aristotle always liked to break down things in society and how they look by its smallest denominator. And you expand that, what's going on with Canada, that's what you're getting. That's what you're getting. You're getting pockets of all over the country of these growing masses of people that we're taking in. And it's just, you know, it's, I think we've gone beyond the tipping point. I think what you did there was an excellent, smart move by asking these people to side with true Canadians, with the original Canadians, and side with them, be there, you know, hype them up, support them, because we can only ask them to be allies. But I don't know if that's going to work. I mean, it's a good idea, but
yeah, well, it's do whatever we can. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it won't work, but fuck, whatever. You know what I mean?
It's a try, right? Like it's something. It's thinking outside the box than just hoping for a politician that's going to change something because he's promised us. And how many fucking times? I mean, I'm disappointed in Doug. I'm the first thing I said. Okay,
oh yeah.
Now that gentleman said he's scared to like instigate anything with his coworkers. I'm a troll. I'm the biggest fucking troll, and I'll speak my mind. Some people hate me, and that's fine. If they hate me, it means I'm doing something right. So, for example, I had an argument with my boss teases me with all her coworkers that I'm a Trump supporter, and I keep telling her, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm just saying I like what he does. I think in a lot of aspects he's a goof, but he's a billion times better than Hillary. And all of them go, oh, and I'm like, why? What? Oh, Trump is a misogynist. Okay, give me some examples. Well, he said this on the bus. Okay, have you ever heard women talking in a crowd to each other? I have. It's bloody worse.
Broke a woman and admitted to it.
Right. And nothing said about him. They did defend him. So I bring up, okay, give me some examples. Come on, give me some. They can't. They're just repeating all this drivel that.
I know. I love it. I love catching people and like this thing. And most people are so ignorant that you can just like destroy them in arguments. Most regular people, when it comes to that type of shit. So it's just like they're like, ah, fuck, damn it, maybe he's right.
And then, you know, my daughter's now starting to be a little bit of a smart ass. We go to a bookstore and we're looking for books. And I said, and I'm going there. I want to see like how many faces will get all spurred out. And I said, oh, you know what, daughter and son, let's find a book about Trump. He's so amazing. And the person working in the chapters, it's like making all these contortions in her face, like she's spurging out. I just love it. I mean, that's, you know, and actually today, I have to tell you guys, you got to listen to this. So today I'm at Costco with my daughter and my son, and we're hanging out there, and I'm speaking loudly. I usually like to do this, right? And I'm surrounded by Chinese everywhere, but there happens to be one sole white guy. It's like a pearl in the desert. And he's walking by me, and I'm telling my daughter, you know, women, I said, you know, women screwed up comics, women screwed up movies, you know, be a good woman, be a good wife. And, you know, hopefully you find a good man who respects you and respects you for being a woman. The guy walks by me, this white guy walks by me and says, that's right, you should listen to him.
You know? That's right. You should listen to him.
So it's funny.
That's great.
Yeah, you got to kind of, you don't have, you know, the biggest thing, and, you know, I shit over Owen Benjamin for blocking people, and people should be critical. If you need to be critical about somebody, you should be critical, and him flagging someone. I agree with him. Don't have a fear. A man who has nothing to fear should be the man to be feared the most. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to challenge. You know, that woman had more balls than most men in this country when she went up to Trudeau and challenged him. Quebec people were here. What about the first Quebec people? What about them? And he just cucked out. He just all of a sudden started calling her racist, right? She had more balls. She had testicular fortitude to challenge that guy. And more guys got to be like that. More people, more women need to be like that.
You know, and just say what the fuck you believe, because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. and the more shit that you're going to get for saying basic things that aren't racist. Because as we see, yeah, you wear an American flag or a shirt with the American flag in California, they'll call the fucking cops on you or something, or like you'll be suspended from school. But before I go on, there was a donation from where is this? Thought Police for $2.29. RIP EU. Thank you for the donation, man. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I agree with you, man. RIP EU. It's going to die. It's a matter of time. Once Britain or the UK fully disassociates from them, it's gonna be like a domino effect. That's what I think is probably gonna happen, because they're gonna have to start to charge other European nations, a part of the EU, more money to fund their shit. So because the UK was giving them, I don't know what was a good percentage of their budget. So now they're gonna have to make up the rest of that money, and they're going to be asking more from other places. They're going to have to spend even more of their own money, and that's going to alienate more people. And then you're going to see another European country leave. You know, hopefully it's France next. Maybe Marine Le Pen will fucking win the next time. I don't know, and pull out of it. Hopefully, but go ahead there.
No. I think, you know, I think people are starting to wake up slowly, right? I don't know if we can make any changes right now, but I'm hoping that I do have hope, right? I have that's the only thing I have left in me is hope that things will change. Like the caller that came in, great listening to him and how he feels. But it saddens me that people are afraid to say shit. Like, I'm constantly challenging people, and you'd be surprised. People come out of their shell. I talked to another coworker, and he started coming out of my shell. You know, like,
exactly.
It's very difficult for me to talk about this. Another one I talked to, she was kind of a liberal voter. She voted for Doug the last election. She's like, I'm not voting for Trudeau for the next election. I'm going to vote. And then I told her, yeah, you know, I became a member of PPC and stuff. And I started telling her about Maxime Bernier and shit like that. And she's like, oh, yeah. Like, you know, so I said, go to his website, check what he's saying. You know, I mean, he's saying the key things, whether he means it or not.
That's what I like. That's the one thing I like about Maxime, and the fact that there's a new party, is that you got to remember, like, terms like conservative, especially in Canada and America, right, and Europe or whatever, like, these terms have a lot of baggage. Conservative, liberal, like the party, you know, like there's people still have the taste of Stephen Harper, even though he wasn't that bad, whatever, but he's done a lot of bad shit too. But there's so much baggage with these terms that people, like, they're not going to, they may listen more when you're like, oh, there's this new party that's proposing this and that, and it's not the conservatives, it's this party. And then maybe they'll start to listen to these types of ideologies to be like, maybe small government is good, is that? And then they'll just naturally become more conservative, and maybe they'll vote conservative when they need to or something. But like, that's a good way to introduce people to these types of ideologies, to these types of ways of thinking, is through a new party with a new face that doesn't have all of the baggage that comes with the conservative party already, right? And the way it's viewed by regular people, you know, it's something different. And I'm not saying it's going to get huge per se, but like I said, it's a way to introduce people. Like you were saying, you're talking to that girl about Maxime Bernier, and she's like, oh, I kind of cut you off. Sorry. So I don't know how you finished the story, so I'll let you finish. Sorry, go ahead.
So I told her about Maxime Bernier, and you know, some other coworkers were laughing at me that I became a member. And I was like, what? You know, like, go and check out his website. What, you like Trudeau? You know, you like a soy boy? I'm not afraid to say it. Like, if they want to get all like knotted up about it, I don't give a shit, right? I remember and you know, even my boss is like, oh, you can't talk like that. I'm like, why? I can't talk like that? Well, then what are you going to do, right? I'll go to human resources. Like, you can't shut me up. Anyway, so I started telling her, yeah, go check out Maxime Bernier's website. And she did, right? I gave her the website. Go see what he has to say. I don't always agree with him. I fear that he's just talking shit. But hey, you know, you voted. I got you to vote for Doug.
It's a good introduction for normies, honestly. You got to think, you can't just blast a normie with like, all right, we're being replaced white people are being replaced. You know, like you can sometimes, like you can wake people up like that in it. But I mean, like it's good to like, especially for a shift in ideology, because we're so taught that like we need government, we need this, we need like healthcare, free health, like, you know what I mean? It's good to just have like, he's a good like Joe Rogan, all these people like that, they're good introductions for normies to certain people in ideologies, even if they're trying to like maybe counter it themselves or something. It doesn't work, right? It's they still get introduced to these people, and that's good, you know. Like if more people can become more freedom oriented, that's how I kind of phrase it, you know, like, because I can say libertarian, but I don't really describe myself per se as a libertarian per se, because I don't agree with every single thing, but I agree with freedom. If you are for freedom and you're a freedom oriented type person, then that's good. You know, if you move away from statism and you're more for freedom, and also you start to think about the problems of multiculturalism, because that's not even on the horizon. That's not even in people's mindset right now. That if you can just start thinking about it, that will open up the doors to eventually you being fucking red pilled. It's just inevitable, right? And you know, Joe Rogan, like you said, like this person says, Chaz a lefty degenerate, which I agree he is. But like I was introduced to Stefan Molyneux, to a bunch of Mike Cernovich or whatever, and all these guys have their own problems too. But once again, these are all stepping stones to eventually being completely red pilled or whatnot. And you can't necessarily give somebody that's like vertical politics, or like these certain people, YouTubers that are like really woke or something, right away to people. You know, you got to kind of slowly introduce them to that thing. I think
I think that's the best approach. I think that is really the best approach. I come on hard. I'm like, I've had enough of this shit. I don't want to soft talk people. I want to give it to you. I'm just going to spew out as much shit that makes your brain just get all discombobulated and say, okay, what's the truth? That's what I do. I do it with my mother, and I do it with my coworkers. And, you know, I like to watch the reactions, because, you know, from a psychological point of view, I just like to see how to deprogram people. Try it out. Go to a McDonald's and they say, how can I help you? And just say, no. And they don't know what to say, because they've just been programmed to say one thing all day long.
Right. Yeah, just break the programming. That's what we got to do. We start breaking the programming. And, you know, what I thought was a good breaking the programming, and what people should start doing more, and like just write, it's okay to be white, and like post that places. Like, honestly, like just the way that trigger, like that should wake people up. Like I would think, like just seeing people freak out about that, like it's okay to be white. It's okay to be white, and how that just enrages leftists. I'm like, people should be doing more stuff like that. Like that kind of like, I think it exposes these people for their racism. You know, maybe not people will see it right away, but I think eventually they can. But that's just another thing that you could maybe do, right? Not a part of a multi-pronged approach, right? Go ahead. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Let me check the chat here. I had someone outside my house last night. I pity that person if they come back again tonight. What, do you got a gun on you, Linda? You tell you your name is Justin. Yeah, well, be careful. Hopefully, maybe it's just the mailman. So I'd be careful, Linda. You don't want to accidentally shoot them. When is the world coming to an end? Metrosexuals and socialists will be the first people to try to break into your house. Why metrosexuals? Kevin. Oh my God, are you serious? Kevin J. Johnson? I know he's been gone for a little while. Somebody said he was in prison or something, and I'm like, what? But he's in stage 4 cancer. Fuck, man, that's horrible. I hope he's okay. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Where do you know anywhere where people can send their like prayers or you know, I'm an atheist, so I don't really believe in that, but you know, I don't know, their support. That's fucked up. Do you know who Kevin Johnson is, Fredrick?
Yeah, what happened to him? Like somebody said that he's in jail or something.
I heard that's what I think Mysterious Blue was saying, but Happy Fox just said that he's in stage 4 cancer.
Oh no! Come on, shit.
Yeah,
he was so close to winning the mayorship out.
Yeah, no.
In Mississauga, I think, right? Or Brampton.
Yeah, that's fucked, man.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, he disappeared for a while.
Right, you know, that's fucked. Just the timing as well, you know, people were like right after the campaign, but Jesus, I don't know. I don't know much about cancer in the stages, but stage 4 doesn't sound very good to me. Jesus.
Would it be too far to say that maybe someone put something in the water? Because like the guy has been like a nemesis for the Liberal Party, right? He's
really.
Oh yeah, he's despised. They don't like him.
Well, you know, I wouldn't put it past people to do that. You know, honestly, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions, but I wouldn't put it past people to do that. I blame a lot of that on stress. Yeah.
Stress, yeah. He was the Canadian version of Alex Jones, though. He was entertaining to watch.
Fuck, man. That's fucked up. That's terrible. You know, cancer is just one of those things that, you know, it's just want there to be some type of cure, you know, tomorrow, but
more people are getting cancer today than ever before. There's more cancer, and less people are dying of it. It's kind of funny. It's an oxymoron. There's more people getting cancer through stress versus people getting healed by cancer. So it's kind of like a balancing act. People are getting healed because we got the technology, but they're getting it more often.
Right. I know. Well, you know, it's why are people getting more cancer? It's, you know, there could be a ton of explanations for that, but I don't know. I think some of it, like I knew this one person in my hometown, like their whole family got cancer. Like they all died except for like one person. I'm just like, holy shit. Like that's an unlucky fucking family. But like in my family, like nobody's ever gotten cancer. So like
well, do they live in a mining town or something?
Yeah, they live in the country. You know, in the country and stuff. So they're but so did our cousins too, right? Like they lived in the country too, the same town, but all their family got cancer and died. Like the mom got it, then daughter got it, then like the husband got it, then like another kid got it, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, there's some guy just gave $10. I can't pronounce his name.
It's for the tip jar.
Fredrick. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it, man.
It's Menckin. Menckin is I took that name because it's H.L. Menckin.
H.L. Menckin.
Yeah, he's a famous writer. You should look him up. Hilarious guy. Really, he was hated by the Americans because he shit all over them.
What was he, like German or something?
Yes, he was German, and he was very intelligent. He's got a lot of good quotes going for him. He would say things like, you can never go broke underestimating the common intelligence of the American common intelligence," stuff like that. Right? I mean, he was a staunch anti-feminist too. He hated feminism.
What year was he around in?
Kind of like late 1900s. Okay. Beginning of 1900s. Yeah.
So is that your first name? Is it Fredrick or Fredrick?
Fredrick.
Fredrick?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess Fredrick would be with the I or something, right? And then Godzilla. Right. Is Godzilla? Is Godzilla your middle name?
No, that's not my middle name. It's
just
a pseudonym. No. My middle name is.
Damn it.
My name. Well, most people couldn't pronounce it. Svibo.
Stiebel?
Not Slivovica, not the drink, but Svibo. S-V-E-B-O. Svibo. Yeah, it means raisin.
S-V...
E-B-O.
E-B-O?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Svibo. Svibo,
yeah, with the... Svibo.
Oh, okay.
Give up.
what is that? Is that German? You're saying?
No, that's Croatian.
Oh, Croatian. Same thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. Same thing. Different pile. You know, that's why I say to people that are from like South America and they're like, oh, I'm Venezuelan. I'm not Mexican. I'm like, same thing. You know?
Nah, no, it isn't because
it's not at all. I just say it to piss people off.
The Eastern Slavs will have to save the Western Europeans again and again and again, always.
Well, did they really save the Western? You know, there was some like they had their own designs. It was kind of like the communist versus the fascist in World War II, and like the communists won because we like aligned with them and like looked the other way when they killed all their fucking people. You know,
look, we were being like the Russians were being hammered by their own side. They were being murdered like by the dozen by Stalin, while at the same time fighting the Germans, you know, and helping the Americans.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Right. Yeah. No. It's fucked. Like I don't know how they had the most casualties. I'm pretty sure, right? Like the 10 million or something like that. I don't remember how many people died, but. They definitely had the most casualties.
Now look at Poland. Poland is, you want to talk about woke? Poland has massive demonstrations like last year. Like, I mean, the entire city in Warsaw showed up to give the middle finger to Eastern Europe because the EU wanted to, because they wanted them to take in more migrants. And they said, no, and they only took 10. And they said, no, we're not taking any more. And then EU threatened them with sanctions because they said, and then Poland shot back and said, oh yeah, no problem, you destroyed our country back in the Second World War, calculated something in the billions, that's how much you owe us. Once you pay us that, we'll give you your sanctions. So,
right. Yeah, exactly. You know,
look at Hungary under Orban. The guy banned Soros. He said no more transsexual education in our schools. He hates Marxists. I mean, come on.
I know, right?
You got a lot of us crazy Slavics. We're nuts, right?
Right. You know, and that's hopefully the rest of Europe starts to take their lead and stuff. But I don't know. It seems like no matter how bad it gets, like look how bad France is getting, but they're still like a lot of them for open borders. Like some of them are starting to, I guess, be more against it, but it still seems to me like a lot of them are just mad at like, Macron for other reasons and stuff, not so much about the immigration aspect. And you're like, like guys, you're going to be replaced very, very soon, especially it really bugs me that's happening in Europe more so that it's even happening in North America, right? Like it does obviously bug me more here, but I'm like, there's literally no excuse for them to be replaced. They can make the argument here where, oh, it's a land of immigrants and oh, it was always a land of immigrants. They can kind of like try to make that argument. But you can't make that argument for the UK and the rest of Europe, but they're being replaced. And you're like, why isn't anybody freaking out about this or getting mad?
There was a UK woman that got arrested for just calling out this tranny who was pushing for open borders and shit. And that was hilarious. Like, you arrested this woman and you stuck her in jail. She's got a newborn baby. And like that's what you're paying the cops to do for? Like, what a waste of time. And the cops that are doing it, like, what's going on in their mind? Do they come home to their loved one? How was it, honey? How was your job today? Well, it was great, man. We took down this comment on her Twitter page, and you know what she said? Oh, what was it? Something bad? Like she was gonna commit some kind of assault? No, man, it was worse. She called out this tranny. Can you believe it? We took her down. We broke her door down.
Yeah, I don't understand. They should just not do their job at that point and say, like, no, we refuse to waste our time doing this. And, if they all did that at once, they could do that. Like, they could just not do it, not enforce it, and you wouldn't be able to put them all in jail.
Exactly.
But they do. They ignore the girls getting raped by Muslim fucking rape gangs, and then they spend all their time focused on this. You're like, fuck the police, man. That's why I don't like the police. Fuck the police. That's what I have to say, honestly. Sure, yeah, there's a few nice ones. I get you. But on average, they're fucking corrupt motherfuckers that abuse their power, that let their police officers get away with murder all the time, and they don't apply the same standards for regular people that they apply for themselves. But that's all I have to say about them, really.
My dad is so woke. He once said, he goes, I don't blame the teachers. And I'm like, no, Dad, it's the teachers. Seriously, man, they suck. They're all like, and he goes, no, I don't. It's that socialist scumbag ones that sit on the top, that run the schools, that run the universities, that have direct line of sight with the government. And they're the ones, they threatened the teachers to fire them. I said, that's bullshit, man. Why don't these teachers just turn around? He says, no, they don't have the credence to say, no, you want to teach the class? No, then shut up. Let me do the teaching. But I don't know if I agree with him. I mean, I could see his point of view, but I see so many teachers aligned with the liberal.
Bad things happen when men choose to do nothing.
Right.
That's the only way bad things happen, is when good people sit back and do absolutely nothing. That's the whole case all the time. You look at all these cases where kids were being like raped and shit by like their fucking by their coach, right? And he, like, that guy who raped all these fucking boys, these young boys or something, and like all these teachers knew about it. They all walked in. One guy walked in, saw it happen. He was like, ooh, walked out. As one kid was getting like raped in the fucking shower or something by his principal. I mean, by the coach, right? I forget what the guy's name was, Larry something, or it wasn't the person with the gymnast. It was some other guy. And all these people knew about it, and they just turn around, they walk away, and they're just as responsible, in my opinion, for the bad things that happen to these people because they chose to ignore it and do nothing. And a lot of people do the same thing. And if you're a cop, you're a person that is promoting the system, it's not good enough just to be like, hey, I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job, man. Well, get a new fucking job then, you piece of fucking shit. That's not a good enough excuse. I don't care what your fucking excuse is. There's no legitimacy to do bad things. There's no legitimate reason or cause or whatever to instigate or to enforce these things. If you truly had a problem with it, you would quit being a fucking cop and start, I don't know, being an activist or something against it. But I understand that while in the police force, it's harder to change it because you will probably be shot. Like the cops, they'll make you go undercover, and then they'll, like, I don't know, do some friendly fire and accidentally kill you, which has happened. These things do happen. Like, there's so many shady fucking cops and things that come out about what they do to whole fucking towns and cities and like, like even the people in Detroit and all these places, like, they have legitimate gripes against the police. It's not like, yeah, they're not killing black people like Black Lives Matter is saying, but these people like fucking abuse people that they know that they can abuse, and nobody will say anything about it. It's not like just black people. They'll do it to poor people because they know poor people and disproportionately black people are poor. So obviously they're going to get taken advantage of more from the cops, but it's these people they get in. That's why I don't like the government, and that's why I don't like having a monopoly on force, because once you do, you get a police force that starts to abuse their power, starts to abuse it on the citizenship. You start seeing these cops, they see a red light, they'll just turn on their thing and run right through the red light because they're like, I'm a cop, I'm above the law. It's like you'll get they let their buddies, they'll find their buddy, he's drinking and driving, like, oh, and okay, we'll drive you home and not let anybody. But if it's a regular person, they go away. People they cover for their cop buddies all the time, and it's like, it's amazing how they're like, they tell like gangster people, hey, don't snitch, but they don't snitch either. Cops don't snitch on each other. They keep fucking a tight-lipped shit, and they don't squeal on each other because they're all fucking dirty, or a lot of them are fucking dirty.
Well, you know what? There was a time where they're not where they weren't all dirty. Like, I mean, in Toronto, they make more money now standing around directing traffic than actually doing work.
Yeah, you know, I don't hate all cops. Like, you know, I mean, I've had some nice ones and stuff, but we're you know, it's just the, if we had more of maybe, I think, a free market system with the police officers, and we didn't, it was a monopoly, then you wouldn't have them kind of exploiting or taking advantage of their power, essentially, because they can do whatever they want. They have their unions protecting them. It's so hard to fire a cop. Like they made it, I forget what it was, but they all voted against, like, I think it was, I can't remember what state it was, but to have, like, I don't know, the cops themselves drug tested and stuff. It's like, no, they don't need to be drug tested, but everybody else needs to be. No, the people, you know, enforcing these laws, all this stuff, like, they're all against it. And I don't know. I think that if there was more competition, then there would be less exploitation going on from these people, because they would be fired, or you would have more of a choice between, you know, like, let's say you have like a town, you can hire a police force A to police the town, and your town pays that police force. Now, if they do a bad job, you can get rid of them, and you can hire police force B that has a better track record or something, right? Whereas if it's like a monopoly type thing, like we have essentially now, it's like you have no options but to keep dealing with this corrupt police force. They have no incentive to ever change, because there's nobody else that can replace them. You know what I mean? The most that can happen to them is them get maybe a slap on the wrist, or maybe get fired. But it's very hard for cops to ever be sent to jail, especially with the way the system is now. But, you know, I don't know. I just see so much corruption in it, and I see so much mismanagement and abuse of people from the police. Like, it's not, you know, a lot of conservatives think it's all bullshit what people say about the cops, but no, a lot of them are corrupt as fucking shit. And how do you stop that? How do you prevent them from being corrupt?
So you can't prevent corruption even in a private system. I gotta go soon, but but I want to make this point. So you wanna have less police abuse and stuff. Have a society that's moral based. Have people,
or that everybody has guns.
Yeah, I could agree with that too. But have a moral society. Go back to you won't need police. If we had good people that knew each other, that had commonality, common culture, we'd have a lot less crime, and we'd need a lot less cops. And that's it, you know? So anyways, I do, it's like, it's 1:45. I gotta go to sleep.
Yeah, it's late. It's pretty late.
Got some running. I'm thinking about going on that little crusade to Ottawa tomorrow. I have to talk it over with the wife and see if she wants to go for a little trip.
Yeah, man, hit it up.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I got it, man.
Thanks for joining me, though.
All right, thanks everyone. Take care. Thanks for having me on. Bye.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the donation as well, too, man.
Oh, no worries. Sorry. It's the tip for letting me on.
Yeah. Next time, I'll expect another tip.
Okay, absolutely.
Right,
all right. Cheers.
Easy. See you later, buddy. Peace. Hey, guys. So that asshole finally left. I was waiting for that piece of shit to go. It's just like, you know, sticking around. I was like, oh, finally. No, I'm kidding. Just jokes. You guys check out Fredrick's channel, or Fred's channel. I think I put a link in the description below before. Let me see here. I had opened up his stuff earlier as well. Let me see if I can go back. Where's Fredrick's channel? One sec. Let me put it in the link here, guys. Just so you can grow his channel a little bit. He just started making content not too long ago. Let me see here. Fredrick. Where is this? Where's this guy? Okay, here it is. Fredrick Menckin. Or Fredrick. I just call him Fredrick. I like that Fredrick name better, to be honest. That's what I'm going to call him from now on. Let's see here. There we go. What POS? Laden Chicken, Anarchast, Dale Brown, Threat Management, Sweet Dreams. Well, now they're no longer being a physical component of the Ontario Police College. Who knows what kind of people they recruit? Oh, right. Yeah, the whole recruiting. Well, they're going to be hiring, what do you call it? Thugs and criminals and now women for the police force in Ontario, because they also reduced the thing for the crime, the penalties, because they wanted to get more minorities in the police force. So I'm like, is that kind of an admission that minorities commit more crimes if you have to reduce the fucking qualifications to diversify the fucking police force? Like, isn't that an admission that they do more fucking crime? Whatever, you know, they're not gonna admit that shit. Yeah, so now they want a bunch of women to go in there and use their guns to kill people, because you know, women are small, they're tiny, and they're more likely to use a gun because they're gonna feel more threatened than a guy who's a 6'2" guy that's big and strong that can, you know, beat the shit out of a good amount of people already, and that won't need to use his gun. You know, we should go back to when police were like that, when they, you know, would get into fights and beat people up and get into fights. Like that was when police were better, I think. Yeah, our militaries, yeah, we're opening up our military to hiring foreigners now too. I remember seeing that, and you know, just to bolster their numbers. Another way for people to get easy fucking access to Canada. Well, I hope you're okay, Faye. That really sucks. Jesus Christ. You know, these fucking potholes in Canada. Our roads are so terrible here. And because they just don't want to invest in a fucking good road that's not going to deteriorate. But once again, that's because the government just wants to create jobs. And that's all of the road thing is. It's just a jobs program that we get 6 guys to watch one guy working in a fucking hole every year. And then every time they build roads, they crack in 3 fucking years. And then they have to remake the fucking road again. And you're like, Jesus Christ, just make it right the first fucking time. And then we don't need to keep paying these people from the taxpayer money every goddamn year to repair the goddamn roads. There was some guy who from Winnipeg that invented this road and then sold it to Europe because nobody here wanted to use it. But he designed it specifically for us because in Winnipeg it gets hot as shit and then cold as shit in the winter. So it's always fluctuating. That's why our roads are so terrible, because it gets hot and then it gets cold and it gets hot. So the water in the concrete expands and then it creates little cracks. And, you know, I see these road workers doing work in the middle of winter or the middle, and, you know, you sometimes you got to work in winter. I work in winter. I'm technically not supposed to do some work in winter, but I do anyways. But especially with road work, if rain gets in there, if moisture gets in there, then it will expand and it will crack this fucking cement. And, you know, but they don't give a shit. That's just more work for them down the road. But if we built it right the first time, then we wouldn't have all these crazy potholes. We have the technology to do this, but, you know, they just want to have jobs. And so they could, you know, keep saying, look at all these jobs and all, you know, if somebody were to introduce that, then all these unions would be like, we're not going to support you anymore, yada, yada, yada. But guys, it is getting pretty late. I'm getting pretty tired. I want to thank you all for joining me. You know, it's been a little while since I made any content, so I just wanted to do something at least today. And, you know, I had a good time. I had the two callers on, Fredrick, and I forget the other guy's name. Jamie, I believe it was. Very interesting callers. You know, if you guys go back, check them out. But don't feel like a fool. Hey, wrench. Oh, okay. Everybody's asking me for wrenches today. Okay, I'm gonna have to be sparse on these wrenches from now on. And I've only given to a lot of women so far, so it looks kind of bad on me. It looks like I'm like a sexist or something. 6 down votes. Oh, everybody upvote. I don't know. I got a lot of fucking haters, and probably because my title, Low IQ Andy. But oh well, I don't give a shit. I got to retitle this because like half the content wasn't about it anyways. So, oh well. But thank you all for joining me, guys. I appreciate it. You got a wrench now, Faye. You have power. With great power comes great responsibility. You know, so make sure. Who's Andy? Andy Worski. Look up Andy Worski. He's just a Canadian YouTuber. He's kind of a retard. He's been on YouTube for like 10 years, and now he's just making all this content about JF and stuff, and just kind of being a retard. But if you go back earlier to the beginning of the video, you'll see I talk more about it. But either way, guys, thank you for joining me, and hope you all have a wonderful night. Take it easy. Good night.